Hello and welcome to the final episode of the year 2024 for Club Flashpoint, a monthly game club podcast where every month Uncle and I being Faden,
I being Uncle,
play a different game and then we talk about it, kind of like a book club. If this is your first time, it's like a book club.
Yeah, it's a book club, and every page we turn is a different level in our game. Isn't that nice?
I hate that. I actually legitimately hate that. I legitimately, truly hate that.
That's why I said it, friends.
All right. Well, we have a packed room in the recording studio today, and I'm going to go around the horn, starting from my left. This person, Jake, he is giving me weird side eyes. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, yeah, I can do that. I'm Jake.
Good.
Yeah, Jake. And any words for people who may have listened to this podcast before, and you've been on quite a few episodes?
I have been on this before.
Jake, I have a question for you. It is, quite frankly, immoral to play video games on drugs because, stuff like marijuana, cocaine, mushrooms, they are performance enhancing. And thus, it kind of gives you an unfair advantage. So can you elaborate on that more and tell us why we shouldn't be high and game?
I'm sorry. I'm so high right now.
No, you're not.
That was a good answer, though.
It's a bit.
So why shouldn't we do it? Why should we avoid the pitfalls of gaming while high?
I don't know. I think that's
just
stupid.
one sentence. Just one sentence. Just a simple. Why shouldn't you do it? Why is it bad? Why is it bad to cheat at games by being high?
Where is this coming from, Faden?
I'm just asking a question. I feel like I'm allowed to ask questions on a podcast.
Objection, leading question.
Yeah. It's not a leading question. I just need to know why it's bad.
I don't think it's bad.
All right. So to Jake's left is Bean Sprout.
Hello, everyone. You may have heard all my questions throughout most of the podcast. I think I didn't ask one question for one. So, but I am here.
Notorious question asker and now guest on the podcast. Bean Sprout, I have a question for you. What do you think, if a game is trying to be a movie, why?
Why?
Yeah, why? Just give me a sentence to respond to why games are trying to be a movie and why they're doing that. Why would they even do that?
If books like to be movies, I think movies get the opportunity to be video games.
All right, perfect. So next to Bean Sprout's left, I'm probably just going to call you Bean. Just a nice bean. Nicest bean, honestly.
Well, thank you.
What is the nicest bean?
What is the nicest bean? Well, the only bean that's coming to mind is lima bean.
Lima bean's pretty good. All right. Next to Bean Sprout is Max. Hey, Max.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Max. I think I queued into this podcast the first time when you guys did KOTOR last year, and I got so excited that I started listening to the rest of your guys' podcasts, and I'm super excited that I got invited on to talk about my favorite games, KOTOR and KOTOR 2 specifically.
You know what, Max? That's wonderful. So I have a question for you.
Yeah?
So what do you think the role of nepotism plays in the choice of producing hosts on a podcast recording?
I would say...
One sentence.
One sentence. Pretty heavily.
Okay, yeah, fair. Next to... do we need a full disclosure? Max is related to someone, and that's all you need to know. All right, let's see. You know what? If you can find out who, write in, and I'm very curious, actually. I'm very curious what the answer is going to be.
Yeah, we're going to put up a poll, and we'll tell you the results next month.
Holy shit. Yeah, sure, why not? I don't care, yeah, and just tell people to guess. All right, and I'll probably just reveal it at some point forgetting, and I just won't edit it out because that's funny. All right, next to Max's left is Red Alert.
Hi. That's all I got.
That's all you got is a hi for us?
I'm just waiting for my question.
Yeah, you're just waiting. I see the look on your face. It seems like you're dreading your question.
I don't think on my feet.
Yeah, well, welcome to a podcast where you kind of have to do that a few times. But, we'll give you space to breathe and think. It's okay. It's okay. So my question for you is very much a similar vein of the question asked earlier. Why do you, think all these gamers feel the need to compete by just, injecting themselves with, silly putty, heroin, cocaine, weed injections, IV drips of cannabinoids going straight to their brains? Why is this a heinous act in the gaming community?
I object to the question. Silly putty just feels good. That's not heinous.
Okay. And so this is our Stacked podcast. To quickly go around, we got Jake McAskill, acclaimed voice actor, Beansprout, acclaimed questioner, Max, acclaimed wanderer, and Red Alert, acclaimed Silly putty
user.
And I'm your uncle.
And of course, Uncle is here. Uncle, do you want to start us out? Because there's a lot of games in the world. A lot of games exist in the stratosphere.
Oh, yeah.
What other games have you played this month, Uncle?
I have played a game this month that was not the game that we're going to be talking about. And that game was, I think I mentioned it actually in our last episode, God of War, the more recent one, for the PlayStation 4. And it's pretty good. It's pretty fun. It's also, it's Dad Simulator. It's Bad Dad Simulator. I thought it was fun. I didn't finish it because I'm not good at that. I probably will at some point because I'm enjoying it. I liked all the other God of War games. This one is different. It's quite different. You only really have 2 weapons and then your fists, and you only get the second set of weapons partway through the game. Combos work a little differently than they do in the older games. I don't know. I think it's a cool update and adaptation. I don't love all the camera work in the combat.
How do you feel that it's a one-y? How do you feel that's a one-shot game and they tried to do that cinematically via video game?
Oh.
Yeah, it looks bad in my opinion.
Okay.
I just hate it because I was playing God of War Ragnarok and I couldn't see things happening because I was stuck behind Kratos' shoulder.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So I think
that sounds cool.
I don't love it all the time, but it didn't bother me that much. I thought it was fun. I'm bad at puzzles, I'll tell you that. I think that's part of why it took me so absurdly long to get so as far as I did through the game and not even finish it.
Where are you at?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm in Tears Vault.
That's pretty far.
I'm pretty far. I mean, I did my son just found out he's a god and he's being a dick now. And that's where I am, and I can't wait to find out how that's resolved. I'm sorry I didn't finish it, but yeah.
Why are you sorry?
Because I would have probably more interesting things to say if I had finished it. But that's life.
The conclusion is...
So after recording Mishap, we are going to speed through all the other games we talked about. Uncle, it's so good you got to talk about God of War.
Yes.
I played Pathologic 1. It's great. You should play it. Hard, fun, funny.
I played Pass the Pigs. You roll pigs, and then you get points. Unless you pig out, then you lose all your points, and you have to pass the pigs to the next player.
You're long past the pig. I will miss that audio.
Hi, this is Beansprout. I played Vampire Survivor. It was very fun. I'm only 17 hours, in, so I'm not done.
This is Max. I played Slay the Spire, first card management game I've ever played. Lots of fun. Love playing as a construct, building up your character, and slaying the Spire.
This is Red Alert. I played Star Trek Fleet Command. It's a horrible gacha game, but I get to collect cool ships.
Like the D.
Like the D.
All right, but now it's time for KOTOR 2.
Woo!
And for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, we like to do something here. The Sith Lords, sorry, subtitle, I always forget. We like to do something here at Club Flashpoint called the elevator pitch. And Red, you're shaking your head no, that you want to go? Is that... Anyways, so we do this thing where one of y'all will have to summarize or pitch KOTOR 2 to like an executive in the elevator in 30 seconds. Max, I'm gonna trust you to do this.
Okay.
You got 30 seconds on the clock, Max. I'm an executive in an elevator. You gotta pitch me Knights of the Old Republic 2. 3, 2, 1. Go.
Knights of the Republic 2, it is a fantastic game that builds a ton upon the first one. If you enjoy any game with D&D tactics at all, or the style of building a character that way, as everyone does, you're going to love this game. It's basically you're playing D&D in space, and it's one of the greatest RPGs that I've played. It really got me into the genre, and it was fantastic. And there's still more time, but we don't know how much time specifically.
I don't know how I feel about. We had so much time on the table to pitch me. I was feeling wanting.
Yeah, elevators are a lot longer than I thought they were. I thought this was a smaller tower, but
right? No, this is a long elevator. We played KOTOR 2, huh?
Yeah, we did.
Why did we play KOTOR 2?
Because it's a foundational game for many of us, I think. And
I think, a lot of us in this room. By a lot, I mean 3.
Yeah.
4?
We're going to find out,
We're going to find out.
I beat 2 before I beat 1.
Really?
wow.
That's
I rented 1 and it didn't work, so I just gave up. And then I saw 2 being like previewed, and I was like, "That looks really cool. I'm going to play that one anyway."
How'd you feel about him as a kid? Or was this a kid, or was this, how old were you?
It was a kid.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. I couldn't stop playing it. I loved it very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Beansprout, what's your history with KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic? Star Wars in general, really, I mean.
These two, KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2, were the first Star Wars games I've ever played and ever finished.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I know. I don't really play video games that often, but when I do, I try to finish the game.
That's impressive. Some games I can't finish, but I try to do that too.
Yeah, I find KOTOR 1 and 2 being extremely hard to get other people to play. I think a big issue for them is the dated graphics for a lot of it, and the glitchy bugginess that may happen to you as you're playing those games.
This game is coming off.
I think it's got
seams.
Yeah, I think it's got lots of roadblocks that stop people from starting to play it. But everyone that I've gotten to play it, which is no one actually, but I feel like if they could break past that barrier, they would really enjoy it. But I don't think most people, all my friends, enjoy RPGs as much as I do.
Yeah. So what's your history with KOTOR?
With
Star
KOTOR,
Wars?
I first the first game. My first experience with it was watching my older brother play it, and watching him play through it. I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. This is like watching a movie, but you're dictating choices. It was my first introduction to RPGs in general.
Yeah.
And
KOTOR was very specifically cinematic for the time.
Yes, yeah. And it built the basis about what I want every RPG to be going forward from that point.
I get that.
And it also, going back later in years and replaying them, showed me just how broken the D&D system is and how much of a joke it can be when you really know how the game is working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you can manipulate the numbers pretty easily and become unstoppable. But I think that min-maxing is a fun enjoyment part of it for me when I do later playthroughs.
What about you, Red? What's your history of KOTOR, Star Wars, whatever?
I got I almost said GameCube. I got an Xbox when I was younger.
Same thing.
And this was one of the few games that I had for the Xbox. And actually, it was the game I was playing. I can't remember if I was playing the first one or the second one when I met my husband. And I was embarrassed because I was like, don't look at that game. Don't look at what I'm playing. Cause
You met your spouse and you're just like, no, don't see that
I'm
a nerd.
You can't know that I'm playing this super nerdy D&D Jedi game.
I quite frankly was very excited when I saw it on the floor. I was like, oh, hell yeah, he's cool. Different perspectives of the same story, huh?
Yeah.
Uncle? We kind of
I
talked about this on the first episode, but I don't remember anything we said because that was a year ago.
the first essay I remember writing in school in 5th grade in Mrs. Howell's classroom was what I want for Christmas and why I should get it, which it was an introduction to argumentative writing. It was a really interesting project, and we had to do a visual component to show why we deserve or should get the thing, why it would benefit us, and I chose KOTOR 2. Because I loved the Star Wars games. It was something that I knew would bring me a lot of joy. It was something that required me to think really hard about the choices that I made. At least that's how I argued that I would get this game as a 5th grader. And it was also teaching me math skills that I was struggling with at the time. And it didn't really actually teach me those things, but that was my argument. And it was a good one. It might have been Christmas or what I deserved to get for my birthday. It was something along those lines. I don't remember exactly when this game came out. I think it was February for some reason.
I don't know. This was a Christmas gift game
Okay.
for me.
Did you get it?
Okay.
Did you get it?
I remember getting it, yes.
Okay.
For whatever occasion that I asked for it for, yes, I got it. And
My kid wrote me a paper on why they should get something. They're probably going to get it.
It was a pretty cool teacher. She helped a lot. It was one specific hyperfixation memory I have of this is like one of the very few pieces of specific feedback I remember getting on any paper ever was I spelled the word feats wrong. There are new feats in this game, and she's like, I know you know. She came to me. She's like, I know you know feat is feet plural. She's like, why would you? Also, why is this a feature you're interested in? I was the new feats for your character. Oh no, it's like feats are things you can do. She's like, oh, like feats of ability. Oh yeah, that's cool. I didn't. She's like, well, I can imagine you wouldn't know that word. This is how it's spelled with an A.
That's
Yeah. Anyway, so feats. That's why I picked this game.
The characters do have feet.
Yeah, they do have feats.
Did your parents read the paper?
Yes.
They actually read it?
I believe. Oh yeah, my dad is an English teacher, so he was very excited about that. Yeah.
Your dad was like,
He wasn't excited about me asking for a video game, but he had this weird thing against video games conceptually. Hard to explain, but he was impressed with the paper. So.
He didn't bring up the feats. The feet.
That was feedback that I got before I turned it in.
Feedback.
Yeah, this was
Feedback.
okay. So this is a cool game.
Yeah, my first experience was I got the first one for Christmas. It scared the bejeebers out of me. I was so afraid I was going to turn into a raccoon.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Second one, I borrowed this from a friend, and this one blew my little brain to pieces, to smithereens, into a galaxy far, far away. I was enamored with everything this game was, trying to say, trying to do, trying to be. And I think that might be a good segue to how do we feel about our playthrough generally for this game. I'll kick us off. I think this is the first time I've ever played this game, or I came away from it feeling, maybe it's not as great as I remember or thought. And maybe this is the effect of playing it. So for preference, we played it without the mod, the Sith Lord's restored content.
Arguably, I would say the method you should play the game was with the restored content.
Yeah, maybe.
I would say the biggest argument for it would be the bug fixes. You get a ton of bug fixes, a bunch of feature fixes. There's an argument to be made to the vanilla game versus having the restored content, but I think the fact that it's less of a mod and more of we're bringing back some of the features that were cut because this game had 14 months to come out. So I usually whenever I had played the game previously, I had always had the when I played it on PC after it came to there, I'd always play with the restored content mod. So it was definitely a change of pace to go back and be like, holy crap, this game is missing so many things.
and like to kind of give a preference, because some of you might not know restored content mod. It adds content that was cut, removed, edited, or couldn't be finished to Knights of the Old Republic 2 because it came out so fast. A lot of things on the cutting room table. A lot of things in the files. A lot of things that should have stayed cut. I will forever say the HK facility is the worst thing in all of KOTOR, maybe in all of Star Wars games. It goes up there with like my distaste for like Masters of the Terrakasi goes up there with the HK factory segment in the Sith Lords Restored content.
Yeah.
Why?
It's boring. It's long. You have to play as characters that suck. I hate it. There's no point to it. The HK things aren't even a good part in this game.
I think it wasn't. I just wasn't finished. Like even what was restored, I think it was an idea they had that they didn't have time to play themselves and realize, okay, this needs to be different than it is.
And maybe it wasn't a good idea.
I think there's potential there, but I agree, it's not fun.
I agree. I think that's the largest argument against. I think people will point to that and be like, this isn't necessarily missing content. It's definitely content that's not finished. And I think I'm totally fine with not having that part
and the
brought back
droid
to.
planet too. People have been
that
adding
is the
recently.
biggest piece.
Do not
I would
play
say.
the droid planet content.
All the reviews you'll see of it.
Why?
There's nothing good about it.
Talk
So
about unfinished.
Yeah, it's nothing but fetch quests. There are very, very few genuinely interesting characters, at least that are actually fleshed out. None of the combat is interesting or fun. What it does add to the story, which there's a whole Jedi Master that it adds back, the one who you just find dead. We'll talk about it later, I'm guessing. You get to meet her for a very short conversation, and then she's dead anyway. So it adds nothing but a few extra experience points, really, and that's not. You don't need that, as we're going to also discuss later.
I need that experience.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my overall impressions, but long. Jake, how about you?
Well, this was my second time playing it. The first time being when I was like 11, or whenever I got it that last time. I did enjoy it, but I've been very busy, so I didn't really get a chance to actually start it until like a week ago, and because of that, I've been kind of speed running it, and I still really enjoyed the game very much. Also, I kind of want this is sort of side tangent. So sometimes I'll play a game or I'll do something and I'll like listen to music or I'll watch a show, and I don't know how to explain it, but it'll be like if I'm playing that game, it almost feels like it's connected to the show or thing that I'm watching, even if it's completely unrelated.
That's called memory.
I think it's deeper than that. But I've been listening to Legally Blonde, the musical, because there's a character in it that I really want to play, and I think the music is very fun, and it's a
fun time.
It's a fun time.
Sometimes it's a real bad time, but it's a fun time.
Yeah, no,
sometimes.
I think it's more a good time than the times that it's a bad time. But what I'm trying to say is, so when I'm playing Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords, now I'm like, I should be having Legally Blonde, the musical playing. Like, I'm thinking of that, and it doesn't feel like a complete experience if I'm not listening to it. It's like Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Legally Blonde Sith Lords.
Right.
But that I just wanted to kind of throw in because that's been part of my experience.
There's really no blonde girl supremacy in this game.
The main character?
Yeah.
If
Canonically?
Has to be blonde.
Oh, is she canonically blonde?
Canonically, the main character is female and the blonde model, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh. Well, I mean, besides that, I don't know if...
Okay, I just have a quip with that. If the canonically is always female, the amount of times that it fucks up its own lines and calls the main... Oh, no, I guess that's Revan. That's
It
Revan,
did
that's
both.
Revan.
It does both.
So,
But Yeah.
I think it's really interesting because the game does a great job of world building if you played the first one, because the first mention of Revan, it's mentioned that she's female. And you have the choice to either agree with that, or you can correct it and say, no, actually, Revan was male.
Not true. Unless you're a woman, in which case they ask, Revan was a male.
Oh, interesting. So it swaps based off what gender you are.
Yeah, this game's weird about gender, much like the first one.
It really is.
It is.
Also, they constantly misgendered my character, constantly saying he instead of she because the he's the fault. I don't know if anyone else ran into that issue.
I played as a male character this time around, so it was mainly because of the silly gender stuff they do, where one of the companions is locked out right at the beginning, whether you choose male or female.
Yeah, you get the boring one if you're a female.
You sure do.
What about you, Beansprout? Overall impressions of KOTOR 2?
Overall impressions. I actually really liked the game. I think it was really informational of Star Wars, which I really enjoyed. And I liked the puzzles. I did enjoy, the reading parts. I did enjoy the struggles, the issues, the choices you had to make, even, the character NPC dynamics. Yeah. I played this right after KOTOR 1, and I actually started this, and it took me 3 months to play, but I finished it. But I think even though it took me that long to play, it didn't really deter me from enjoying it. But I will say the second time I tried to play it, it felt like the wording was almost too long. There were parts that I wanted to skip because I already knew the puzzles, and I couldn't skip those parts. So that's my only, I guess, comment is if you're playing a second time, you have to enjoy the reading parts because you cannot skip those.
Or you're just mashing things, just mashing through buttons. Well, that's the point I got to when I was playing this game again and again so much. It's mash. I know what to do.
I got to Telos before I realized I still had the Sith Lord content installed, and so I had to just really quickly be like, JK, I'm just going to redo all of this. Which I will say was better, because for some reason I was struggling on Telos Station, because I got confused and forgot where I was supposed to be going, and so I just kept going back to Chodo and being like, what the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, Max, overall impressions?
Yeah, so this is my countless time playing the game. I honestly don't know how many times I've played at this point, but my main goal of this one was to do some things that I haven't done before, and I had specifically chosen 2 characters that I wanted to be my companions in my group, and those are the ones I'm going to focus on the most. And the least amount of playthroughs I've done has been evil dark side playthroughs, because I think it's really hard for me to play as a bad guy because you're just a jerk the entire time. And so and I think it cuts out a lot of the story where you'll find a quest where the guy says, hey, I have this thing and this thing. Yeah. Could you help me with this? And then you look at the bottom okay, I'm doing an evil playthrough. Kill person. Oh, well, that quest is over. And I finished it by killing the quest giver. And so I definitely played I like to call it kick the puppy playthrough, where you're just choosing the most evil, worst options. And it's definitely my least favorite way to play through the game, I would say. And the 2 companions that I chose were HK and Hanhar. Oof. Yeah.
Talk about nightmare blunt rotation.
Yeah,
Anhar, Kreia, HK-47.
Yep.
Even Canderous would be bad.
Yeah.
No, wait, maybe Canderous would actually be cool. I changed my mind.
I like Canderous.
He does drugs all the time.
You know what? Yeah, I changed my mind.
He hands out stimulants like nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but definitely just main thing was actually naming my character. That save file was HK speedrun. I tried to get HK as fast as possible unlocking him, which is there's some silly broken things with the game. When unlocking him, you can unlock him right after finishing Telos. It's just you have to go to certain places first to buy from that, and don't install any of the pieces of him, because the game, one of the salespeople on Nar Shaddaa will sell you the piece you're missing only if you have all the other pieces in your inventory, because that checks to see what piece you're missing. If it's in your inventory, not if it's installed. But I rushed to get HK as soon as I got off of Telos, and then I play with him. And as soon as I could get Hanhar on Nar Shaddaa, I had him the entire time too.
This is why I'll never do that, because I'm compulsed to immediately install anything that I get. The moment I have it, I'm like, gotta go back, gotta go install.
Yeah, Bird, what about your impressions?
This game just has a lot of nostalgia for me. I will say, probably because I did play now without the restored content, It's glitchy as fuck. Like, it is bad. The amount of times that I finally got into the compulsion to save every, 5 minutes, because there were several times where I got through probably, an hour and a half of playing, and then just, oh, there's my desktop.
Yep. Yeah, this game doesn't want to run, doesn't want to hold together.
I think this game is actually the game that taught me to undeniably every 5 minutes press F5 whenever I'm playing an RPG, because there's nothing worse than playing an RPG and either dying or the game glitching out and the game crashing, and then you're like, oh, I haven't saved for 2 hours. Cool. I can't wait to redo all that content in 2 weeks' time when I forget that I did it.
Did you say your overall, Uncle?
I don't think I did.
Yeah. It's hard to keep track with this many people.
At this point, I'm just going to be reiterating a lot of things. I think it's a very broken game. I encountered some unique bugs. I've played this game a million times. This is my zillionth playthrough, and I encountered bugs this time through I've never experienced before. One bug that really killed me specifically for this game that I could not find a workaround for or a fix for that I've had before is in dialogue, talking to somebody, sometimes skip everything.
Yep.
And
super speed.
Yep. And that happened in pretty much every important conversation with Kreia specifically, where all of the most interesting things in this game are said.
Yep.
So I had to look up those conversations because it just skip, killed me. So that kind of hurt. Also, it made me have remarkable respect for the patience of the little boy that I was when I played this game, because he was not a patient little boy, and somehow he found a way to finish this game multiple times despite crashes constantly, because I never learned how to autosave or save regularly. I'm bad at that. And so I had a few game crashes that lost me hours of play. That were pretty frustrating to get through. But I still had fun, still loved it, still found things that I'd never really considered before. Little things mostly, but found room to have fun. And I would say one last takeaway is that I don't know how I so consistently played Kick the Puppy playthroughs as a kid, because I can't. I tried to. I wanted to. I wanted to do a bad guy playthrough. And I think I got to the first opportunity to make a really evil decision, and nope, we're gonna do the good guy route. Actually, we're not gonna do that. Couldn't do it. Too mean. Yep.
I want to talk about characters. Let's go with you, Red, first, and we'll go the opposite direction. Red, give us a little brief on your character.
So I went with the Jedi Sentinel because I like the Sentinels a lot because they're kind of like the Swiss Army knife of the Jedi. I don't know. I very rarely rely on my squad mates when I should, because sometimes they just straight up have better skills, but I like to spec my character in such a way that, like, repair and security, I max those as high as I can so I can just open it myself, which is super useful, like, those couple instances when you don't have a party mate.
Yes.
But then it probably would have helped for those times when you have to play as other characters, because then I maybe would have known who to pick.
Yep.
With my character, I hampered myself extremely harshly in the beginning. I had, I think, 8 dexterity and 8 strength, so combat on the first 2 planets was impossibly hard. I had to rely on my companions almost completely because I did one thing where it was just, since I'm playing evil, I might as well use Force Storm at every single instance.
Yeah.
And so I think at the end of the game, talking about how broken the numbers can get once you really figure out how to play this game, I think I had 43 wisdom at the end of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, which gives you like a plus 20-something modifier. And so you're walking around, and Force Storm is an AoE death storm, and so you just walk into a room, press it twice, and probably everybody's dead.
That's fun. Bean Sprout?
I played also as a Jedi Sentinel, and I was able to get almost every single Force ability and almost every single extra other ability, like with the shooting and all the other stuff that I never really used. But yeah, I had a really good time with my character.
Nice. How about you, Jake?
I don't remember which kind of Jedi I picked. What's the balanced one?
Sentinel.
Then I picked the Sentinel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I definitely went light the whole time because I feel like I don't feel fulfilled if I do the bad guy. I think I'm curious to like look up like what the results are, but I just don't.
The path to the dark side is very hollow and empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is.
Interesting.
The game experiences, after playing both sides multiple times, I would say light side is definitely the way to go for playing through this game if you want to have the most enjoyment, I would say.
And also, like, it just, some of them are just like, you're just like a dick. Like,
Yeah.
Enough of this, time to die. It's like, well, that's not, there's no depth to that. Like,
Please, my children, they need food. Haha, that's funny. You will give me all your food.
yeah. Not my problem.
I
Not
think,
my problem. And then you'll kill your children.
Yeah. This game and then Fable. I played the
Oh,
Fable
yeah,
games.
Fable. I was thinking of Fable when you said
those
that.
two games. I think I have over 90% of my run-throughs on those games are all good person because you get to feel like a nice person helping everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas being an evil person, you're like, I wish I wasn't a jerk to that guy. That kind of sucks.
I feel like I don't want to be friends with someone who, like, their comfort playthrough is the bad side.
Oh, God.
Like, that's a red flag to me. But no, besides that, I usually try to have my characters be super balanced, but
Yeah, red flag.
I also like to made sure that like he had like strength because in the instances when you don't have your partners, I wanted to be able to survive on my own. But yeah, no, it's probably just kind of like a pretty balanced character overall, but definitely light.
I was high charisma, high wisdom, -1 dexterity stat, -1 strength, lots of constitution, lots of intelligence. I was very smart, very thick, but I could not hit for dick. And it was really hard at the beginning, I'll tell you what. But I was a light-sided Jedi, constantly casting Force Storm because of my high charisma.
Yep.
And I'm just very calm about this lightning. I'm actually not mad about it. Doing the Plo Koon Emerald Justice, little zap zaps.
Yep.
Double lightsaber. For the longest time, I couldn't get a lightsaber because my conversation with Baldur was glitched.
Yep.
That was miserable.
Yeah.
But very funny because I was planning to do a full sword run at that point. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I just need the Force.
Mm-hmm.
A lightsaber is a tool. The Force is everywhere.
I call it lightsaber as a stat stick, and that's why I do dual lightsabers, so I can just put all the charisma and wisdom modifier crystals on boost those stats up.
Exactly.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think about putting I stopped using double lightsaber because I was like, I feel like I hit less.
Yep.
But you upgrade it with crystals.
And then,
Yeah,
can't wait to talk about mine.
Yeah. Uncle, your character.
Yeah, my character. So I really wanted to stand out from the crowd. So I
I was a
played,
counselor, by the way.
Yeah, I never said too. I was also a counselor with wisdom.
I played a light side sentinel.
Oh, wow. What? Light side.
Yeah.
So 4
but-
light side
but-
sentinels walk into a bar.
Combat for me was, but at this time through, I usually also focus on force powers because I think they're the most overpowered element in this game. They solve a lot of really difficult combat situations pretty easily. So instead, I did challenge myself a little bit to focus more on melee combat and then just using stat boosting abilities, which also are pretty overpowered. And so I kind of went for a super balanced stat combination, actually, and with all my. Which I knew would be more challenging than really maxing out any one thing. But it was also kind of fun because I was okay at everything, so I could do lots of different combat abilities. I was not bad with blasters, and that was kind of fun to use when you're a Jedi that could just be destroying everything with lightsabers. Sometimes using blasters is fun.
I want to do an all blaster run someday.
That's my next playthrough plan. Is an all blasters run. But I ultimately did go with dual wielding, melee, dual wielding stat sticks for lightsabers. And you can really, I ended up having a +10 to pretty much every stat by the end of it. Especially if I was using force abilities like force.
Valor, I think,
Valor,
is the +5 to all attributes.
Yes,
That's
and then
broken.
and then you can put battle meditation on top of that. Speed on top of that.
Or do Force Enlighten, and then you get.
And once you get Force Enlightenment, you can use them all at once.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I did, and just kind of lightsabered the shit out of everything. But it was fun. It was pretty powerful the whole time. Actually, there really were not any combat encounters that gave me a lot of difficulty.
Yeah, I feel like this game's combat kind of it very aggressively level scales.
Yes.
So hard that it's in the lore when Krea's like, the Sith assassins, they will get stronger the more you get stronger. It's like, okay, they level up as I level up. All right, thank you. Very funny. And anyone have any difficulties with combat at any point?
Yes.
Yeah?
I struggled when it turns you to Atten, and he walks into the bar and wants to get his shit kicked in by those two ladies. I actually had to have my spouse do that for me because I was like, I kept dying, and I was getting so pissed off that I was like, well, I'm never beating this game.
And yet, I just stepped in and was like, oh, it's melee weapons. You just need to put melee weapons on Atten.
Or make him a Jedi.
Also true.
I missed that this playthrough. I don't.
You can make Atten a Jedi?
Yeah, you can make Atten
did
and
you-
Handmaiden.
No, I didn't
You can
know
make
that.
Atten and Beodur and Mira all Jedis.
Yeah. Everyone's a Jedi. Did you not catch that Krea said that they will rebuild the Jedi Order?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I just missed that this playthrough.
Yeah, I didn't get any single Jedi this playthrough, too.
I believe you can get.
Collected them all.
Yeah, I believe every companion can be Jedi except for Mandalore and the droids.
Yep. Which, droid discrimination.
Can the Mandalore be turned to light?
Not really.
Not really.
I don't
Yeah, I
think
didn't
so.
think so.
I think even
Canderous is a real
always
bastard.
evil.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he also rules. That's why he whips. Like, that's why.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the interesting things about difficulty in this game is when when the game really expects you to have used a character before and have it leveled up or to a point where he has useful gear. And so especially when you talk about like, okay, now we're going to use Atten. It's like, who is this guy? And what does he do? And he just gets beat up by Twi'lek dancers. So
The guy I played Republic Senate Pazak with.
yeah. Oh, man, Pazak.
Yeah, who loves Pazak?
Psychopaths.
I actually did not play any of that game during the game.
Yes.
Same.
Shame.
The game hilariously comments on all of the popular critiques for Pazak, though, through characters, which I love.
Yeah, isn't it like T3 figures out the strategy is to start first?
No, always let your opponent start
always
first.
let your opponent
Yeah.
start first,
Yeah.
yes.
Because then they'll bust faster. They're
Yep.
more-
Yep.
Yeah.
I hate it when I bust fast, especially in Pazak.
Yeah, no, lots of quick saving and quick loading after every match just to get past it and not lose out on money because I hate having to go through and play Pazak. I'll definitely save Scum.
Okay, I love Pazak. I'm a Pazak lover. I love playing it. I don't mind losing money. I don't mind losing at all. I just play Pazak.
So if you haven't played Pathologic, remember, the person recommending Pathologic enjoys Pazak.
Oh, speaking of enjoying the mini games, what about swoop racing? Who loves swoop racing?
Woohoo! Go swoop racing!
Go swoop racing.
That was fun.
You like swoop racing too?
It's only fun when you can force persuade someone afterwards to give you all of the money.
Yes.
Bean Sprout?
No, I'd had a really fun time with the swoop racing. I wish there were more.
You can jump in this one now.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I remember, funnily enough, that when I played through this game, there was a point where I was like, I couldn't figure out why there's just the gate that won't open up in Swooper. Because I remember I would play this guy, I would play the first one and then go play the second one. I'm like, there's no jump. Why would I press A to jump in a swoop bike? And this gate's not opening. I think my game's bugged. And I remember I stopped a playthrough when I was a younger kid playing through that because I couldn't get past this gate that you are supposed to jump over with the jump button.
I've had that problem. As a kid, of course. That's the only time that anybody would really have that problem.
Right, not recently at all. Not in
Right, yeah.
a playthrough done maybe in the past month or so.
Yeah. That'd be crazy.
Swoop racing's great. Give me a new podcast or swoop racing game when. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna fucking play as Ben Quadrados. Quadranaros. The greatest pod racing.
Yeah. Pod racing game. Oh man. Next month, listeners.
Doesn't he blow up?
We're switching up the gear.
No, he didn't blow up. He's one of the few that survived. His
He
engines
crashed.
blew up.
his engines blew up.
Okay. And he skirts to the end there.
No, he doesn't steer to the end. He doesn't go
He
at
doesn't
all.
even pass the start line.
No, I mean like he just like
No.
he's the one that doesn't pass the start line.
Quadraneros
Yeah.
has the four.
That's the
engines
quad.
That fly off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But he survives.
Poodle.
No, that's
Sebulba.
that's
Sebulba.
Sebulba.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
We just watched the prequels in this household.
And a bonus.
And the making of episode 1, which is one of the greatest things ever.
I've never seen that.
I want to see it so bad.
No, you actually do.
Yeah.
It is like
It's very interesting.
it is so prescient.
Okay.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It rhymes. It's so good.
I love George Lucas.
You gotta watch it then
Yeah,
because it
I
is
know.
the most George Lucas.
I've seen clips. Yeah.
I'll pick the child that's doing the worst.
On purpose.
One of my favorite is. I think I may have gone too far in some places.
Well, it's like how it's right after they finish watching the first cut of the movie. He just grabs his head and is like,
It's so good. Oh man.
No moments like that in KOTOR 2.
Well, so I was what was I gonna mention? Something of so
Should we talk characters?
I was gonna say something about
Companions? Yeah.
the difference between 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah.
Like kind of like the lineage of that. So some things that are kind of interesting is 1, when they started writing the script to 2, they did not have the script to 1 because it was not finished yet when they started.
Interesting.
Yes.
Did not know
I did not
that.
know, yeah.
Yes. So they didn't know what Revan's deal was for a big bit of it. And might be part of the reason why the Exile wasn't involved in the Civil War at all.
Yes.
That's interesting. I had just assumed that they were just trying to like barely give a nod to KOTOR 1, be like, yep, Revan's a person, it has some effects on this, but not really that you'll think that actually impact the game at all.
Boy, that other character sure made some big choices, huh?
Dang, it was wild when Revan beat the Republic, ruled the galaxy with the Sith Empire, and just left?
Yep.
Question mark?
That was crazy.
That was crazy. I chose the dark side ending for my Revan.
Yeah.
So I had no Karth in the cutscenes.
I've never once managed to play a dark side playthrough, so I've always had Karth. So when you told me that you just didn't have Karth, I was like, how the fuck?
Karth doesn't like it when you go bad.
He really doesn't he confront you and
He
you
just
can
runs
kill...
away.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember.
He just runs away like a coward and you never see him again. Because also, like 2, 1's dark side playthrough is not finished either at all.
No.
But yeah, another not similarity, but another fun connection I have to point out that I love every time: the spacesuit. Take the complaint of, the spacesuit is so slow in 1.
Let's make it look like the game is glitching out just to speed through that. Like,
so good.
Do we have time to animate a new animation for the walk speed? No, just fucking double it and go.
no, give him
double it.
Give him the underwater spacesuit, the underwater swimsuit, and that'll be the spacesuit.
Well, not even that.
That too,
Literally take the animation, just speed it up by double so that you don't go slow anymore. But I'm sorry, it's gonna look like you're just like stuttering across
amazing.
the
For
across the
speed.
map. For speed. Yeah, it's like God, it's so funny. I love it.
One thing I'm curious, did you use force speed to run around the map?
Absolutely, every time.
Did you know to remove the option where there's a blur on screen to every time you use it? Because anyone else have the blur on screen?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could remove it.
There's an option where you can remove it, and it makes it so much better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go redo it.
I'm just curious now.
Yeah, there's a video setting where you can turn on. It's like motion. It's not even motion blur. It's just like
Speed blur.
I think it's literally called speed blur or something like that.
I think it is called speed blur.
And you can turn that off, and it is so much more enjoyable when everything's not looking through a haze.
But force go fast.
Force go fast. True.
So it hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to see. I love the blur.
Oh, I turn it off immediately.
I love the blur.
I saw it and I'm like, there is something wrong with my game. I need to fix this. And then that was the first setting I changed.
Anyone else have blur opinions? I love the blur. I need some blur defenders in here. If nobody loves the blur, that's fine.
I mean, see, my opinion is I like the way it looks. I like the glitches. I like that it's old. I like that it looks
It's
funky.
creaky.
I like that it's creaky. I like that it has
It's Grandpa's
issues.
house.
I liked that. That was appealing to me. I know that other people found that very irritating, as you can hear, listeners. But I actually enjoyed those moments. I don't know why, but I found it heartwarming that it had all this love and care put into it, and then the game itself was just so
It can't
clunky.
contain that love.
Sometimes you're looking for a crunchy texture. Yeah.
You know
It's a
what?
crunchy game.
I love crunchy textures. That's true. I love how everyone's face looks fried to hell. They all look like they're just like zoinked, like out because they're just.
Oh my gosh! Especially if you're an evil person, your face gets so disgusted.
Oh,
it is
it's
so,
so
and then your
funny.
companions turn gross too because they
Yes.
follow your alignment. And I remember looking at Atten because everyone was evil, and I'm like, God, you look gross. I don't want you in my party.
Everyone's wearing makeup when you're on the light side.
Yeah, everyone's just glowing.
Yeah.
And, like they're applying foundation and blush and shit. Like
The lighting in the ship is perfect.
the
for
lighting in
them.
the ship's perfect. Yep. Yeah. Should we talk about companions? Kind of get into.
Sure.
What are some of our standout companions?
Kreia.
Kreia?
Kreia.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you like about Kreia, Bean?
I loved her talking. Every time I took her out, I would be like, I need you to come with me. I don't care because I want to hear your opinion on this.
Her bad opinions?
Even though she'll hate on you anytime you do anything nice after Telos. Why would you do that? How dare you help these people?
It's funny too because if you go to Nar Shaddaa immediately, there's a choice where you can be evil or good. And then no matter what you choose, she says, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why are you making choices in people's lives? And so she's very much of like, helping people will hurt them because they miss an opportunity to become stronger from being weak. Yeah. And then it's like hurting someone while they're down. It's like, why are you being needlessly evil? And it's like...
It's almost like she has no ideology and she's just berating you to berate
She's
you.
just upset about the Force.
What if Ayn Rand was a Sith Lord? That's Kreia to me.
Yeah. No, that exactly. What if there's just this person who's just...
Who thinks everyone should be their own island of selfishness, and that's what the galaxy should be.
Yeah. It'll
Fuck
be a better
everything that
galaxy.
connects people. Fuck that stuff. Bad.
Especially the Force, the ultimate connection
Exactly.
device.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, Kreia's fun. I don't...
But I want mommy to like me.
Yeah, exactly. But my thing is, I don't know what she exactly wants. It feels, all the motives feel muddled and
Unfinished.
Death of the Force, I think, is this.
Right?
Everything that goes for
That's
it.
the line.
That's her line for it.
But,
But
like,
she doesn't. Yeah.
Well, that's what I found so engaging about her because she was so complex and her
Yes.
opinions didn't really line up with like what she really wanted when you find out what she really wants.
Yeah, just a liar.
Yeah, I just found her very engaging and that's why I loved having her in my party, even though I was doing things that she was obviously very much hating because I was playing a light playthrough. But I just loved her talking. I was like, okay, I like listening to you.
Great voice.
Yeah. What I would add to that is that oh no, I lost it. Never mind. Forget me.
The things that, because like Kreia's kind of
She
like
used forced memory wipe on me. That's something she
yeah,
did.
she can force memory wipe people. Okay, so this game like really is like, all right, the Force
I remembered now.
is magic.
Okay, she's returned it to me.
How kind.
And then I lost it again because I laughed about it.
Oh, no.
No,
Oh no, she rejects Star Wars. Okay, there we go. She rejects a lot of basic Star Wars concepts. Like everybody's invested in the Force, in the dark side, the light side, whatever. She said, "Fuck that. No, bad. Force is bad. Let's just kill the Force. Let's these Sith Lords, they're idiots. These Jedi, they're idiots. They're all idiots." She is a rejection of a lot of basic Star Wars things, I think.
Yeah.
She's different. She's really cool. I like her.
Cranky.
I know. I remember when I was playing this game as a kid. I think she was the moment where I was able to blow past all of my opinions of the Jedi. Because when I'm a younger kid, all I see is Jedi good. They're always good. Sith is always bad. Jedi can't do wrong.
That's true.
And when I played the game, I with very small, because when I was a kid, I didn't listen to dialogue. I skipped past it. I'm like, why am I not fighting something right now? That was my first experience with the game. But even a little bit later on past that, I'd read it and I'd be like, wait, yeah. The Jedi are stupid. What the hell? Yeah. Why are they held back by all these stupid things because of peacekeepers, but they can't peacekeep because they don't let themselves peacekeep, but they'll tell you they are peacekeepers.
But
though.
also a certain kind of peacekeeping, and for what exactly?
Yeah.
They come and impose.
There's an interesting thing where Kreia mentions that what the Republic is not the Jedi don't serve the Republic. That's not what the Republic exists for. The Republic exists as a shell for the Jedi to hide in. And, like, that, like, all the battles that actually go on are never about these governments. And it's about these, like, dumb fucking outside forces with mythical operatic power that come in and smash against each other and use these instruments in the galaxies to fuck everything up all the time.
Narratively, probably my favorite element is that every civilian is just Jedi. They're Jedi. It's called the Jedi Civil War because it's not Jedi versus Sith. They're all just Jedi.
They're all just Jedi.
There are people, and then there are these monstrously powerful creatures who dictate our lives. Really cool criticism, I think.
I also like there's Kreia's she's just so cranky about it though. That's the thing. That's like she's so cranky and she's so just like nihilistic about it that she just also sabotages herself constantly.
Yeah.
And
I just want to know, what did everyone do? So on Dantooine, you're looking for the one scrapper dude that's gotten trapped in the temple. Do you all get yelled at by Kreia when you get, because you get the option, it's the one dark side option that I always take, because I'm not chasing this dude down later, because he always goes to run away, and you have the option to be like, no, motherfucker, you're not running away. Which is, you just immediately murk this man. And Kreia will immediately, if she's in your party, she immediately will just be like, are you just under the control of every murderous whim that crosses your mind?
Yep.
It's like, no, this is the first time I murdered someone.
Yeah, playing as an evil person, I said, yes, I am. That is my current goal. What I'm doing here, I get free stuff for doing this, so of course I will.
I feel like I've been really honest about that.
How did you all handle like the Jedi aspect of Kreia? Because like I ran into something interesting where I killed the Jedi, but I was doing light side.
Yep.
Playthrough. And
you can do that, yeah. When
you do that, Kreia's just like, what, fucking, you're a failure. All your deals are a failure. I can't believe you did this. You just, like, were a fucking murderer. I'm like, what do you... I just killed the fuckers who deserved it. You know this.
Also, she murks them anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I think
hypocrite.
I chose the option to be like, I'm not going to fight you, and then Kreia knocks you out or something, and then she kills them.
Yep.
That was what happened with mine.
Which is, that is what she wants if you're doing a light... She wants that to happen so she can teach you a lesson. Is, I think...
What's the lesson? This is my thing about her.
This is Darth Kreia for you. What's the lesson?
Sorry, Darth Treya.
Treya, sorry.
Because of betrayal.
Welcome to Star Wars.
Welcome to Star Wars. Darth Scion? Yeah. What's the... I don't get that one. Is Scion the first student? But Scion isn't because that's Revan. Revan's Treya's student. Oh yeah, how do we feel about...
They had many teachers.
Yeah, that's true.
It seems actually the Padawan and training Jedi dynamic is not as much a part of this story. It seems like a lot of Jedi just have multiple masters in this universe.
The rule of two with the Sith, why is that sometimes a thing and sometimes not?
Well, this is pre-Rule 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
This is when there were a lot of
the beginning.
Yeah. No. Okay. Bane is like not the beginning. Bane is like a couple hundred years before the original.
It's crazy how old it goes.
Because this is 4,000.
I mean, this game is the old Republic, and so
4,000 years before.
Yeah, because it took a while for the rule of two to get put into place, and I mean, after playing this, every time I play this game, I always go to Wikipedia at some point. And I'm like, well, time to read like all of these articles all over again and learn the lore again.
There's so much.
That's honestly so enjoyable. It's probably one of my favorite books is going to Wikipedia and then just reading different pages of all the lore of certain characters.
Too bad it sucks to navigate.
Yeah.
Too bad it is the worst thing ever since that buyout of fandom.
Yeah, but I can easily enough type in a name and usually find the article pretty quick on a character, but. And then then there's two different tabs for Legends versus Canon, and I'm like, shut up, get out of here! don't try to split these two different things off.
Speaking of Rule of Two, I also love that so we have, even in the era of the Rule of Two, there's way more than two at all points.
Well, I think that's the point. I think the Sith are just always constantly undermining themselves, and that's why they always lose. Evil defeats itself, sort of dealio.
other character companions like
Oh,
Vizis
yeah.
are a good example of that.
Yes.
Vizis is the apprentice of one of your nemesi, and is
Kind of a nothing
yeah.
character, which kind of
Yeah.
that part does rule.
Yeah, I mean, the servant of Nihilus is also pretty empty.
Yep.
And even when you turn her to the light side, it's still pretty empty.
Look, she's a hot blind priest. That's the main. So okay, yes, this is the thing about companions in general. The ladies, they're hot in this one, guys. Hey, fellas, I made the ladies hot. My name's Chris Avalone, and you wanted sex in Star Wars.
Atten even makes a comment about how Kreia probably looked good once.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
If you're a woman, it's nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as he sees you, essentially in your underwear, that's when he falls in love with you.
Yes.
And then his obsession with you does not stop.
I don't mind the naked Jedi interrogation.
Yeah, I think it's literally the first thing he says before anything else. Just points out, well, you're naked.
Atten is just terrible if you're a woman. It's just calling you beautiful and smile more, baby. And
Well, he is a bad guy.
He's this game's Karth in many ways.
but also this is this is the evil, the fucked up version. This is
the
fucked
Sith
up
Lord
Karth.
Karth.
I'm like,
Yeah.
they're actually kind of very similar. I don't know.
No, he's a Sith soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not in the sense of I mean they treat women about exactly the same.
Yes.
That's nothing new. Everything else they try to change up. They kept the woman thing the same for some reason. It's so weird that they did that. And that's supposed to be the logical romance, right? Or I guess
this Handmaiden, I think you're really set up with, but I ignore her because she's annoying. Who likes Handmaiden?
I like her because she lets me add my wisdom modifier to my defense if you finish some quests, and that's why I actually restarted my game because I started. I'm like, well, I'm going to do the female character because that's usually what I play. And then I remembered, no, because then I don't get Handmaiden, and then I don't get to add my wisdom modifier to my defense, and then I completely redid everything.
What do you get from Micah? Macall, what is his name?
The disciple?
The disciple. I don't know his fucking name.
No idea. I've never used him in all of my playthroughs.
Useless.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the disciple
he's-
being?
He's just nothing. He's nobody, really. I mean, he doesn't really add a whole bunch.
He has a real name,
and
but
he
you'll get it if
he's
you actually
called
use
the
him.
disciple. I don't know his name also because
Yeah.
he also refers to himself as the disciple.
Who is that?
He's
I
a
don't know what
character.
you're
You,
talking
If you play as a woman, you get to meet him.
No,
no matter
yeah,
what in the library.
I remember he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
He's in the library.
Wow.
Of Tatooine, yeah. Yep. He just hangs out there
I remember.
and waits for you. And if you're a guy, you walk in, you're like, oh, hey, I'm a person that you'll have no idea who is.
Yeah.
Even if I'm a female and I do join you, you'll still not know who I am.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Well, his backstory is somewhat all the characters have really interesting backstories because his is he was your Padawan and then he decided to leave because you left and then he went to the Republic and then he's like, okay, actually I don't want to be here, so I'm just going to archive stuff.
he should have just stayed there. But of course, he'll go on to form the Jedi Order again
with Mira.
with Mira. People love to reform the Jedi Order. Also, speaking of hot ladies, hey, it's Mira time.
Bounty hunter.
Made
Made her own wrist launcher, maybe the first in the galaxy, because everyone's amazed by your wrist launcher.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's just the first Mandalorian to make a wrist launcher.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah. Because even when I played as a good guy, I also didn't choose her ever for anything. I didn't even know she had one until one of my recent playthroughs where I'm like, what are these wrist launcher shots that I'm picking up? I don't have any weapons that can use that, and because I'd never used her for anything.
They're not good. They're not that good, right?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
It's there's almost no benefit to using them over just grenades. Yeah, it's except so there's a paralysis dart that's actually pretty useful. If you're having trouble with a melee opponent. So, I mean, no, it's not useful.
Yeah, she has a sad, all my family died at Malachor 5 because she's a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Kind of a Mandalorian. She was abducted and forced to be a Mandalorian, which makes you a Mandalorian.
That's basically
But that's
Mandalorian.
But she doesn't really like Mandalorians, though.
Interesting that the Mandalorians abduct children, and the Jedi do too.
Yep.
It's like poetry.
I really do enjoy when the Mandalorians are interesting to me. Them being just kind of actual, legitimately, actually dark side Jedi, not like Sith, but actual, like, this is the dark inverse of Jedi.
Yeah.
That's when I think they're kind of really interesting.
Yeah.
Especially with, like, Canderous, and, like, who's now Mandalore. He goes by Mandalore if you don't get the conversation. You don't realize he's Canderous from the first game unless you know his voice exactly. And it's the exact same voice actor. And I truly just kind of love how he has now taken up this role. I want the Mandalorians to be smarter. I don't think it's a possible thing I can even fucking do here. I think we're just doomed. And Krea's like, yep, they're doomed.
Yeah.
they're not going to go on the upswing ever. It's only down here from here, baby, until Jango Fett gets his head cut off.
I think there could have been some interesting movement there with the Mandalore where you kind of help dictate where they move from that point, but really just boils down to, well, you helped me gather the rest of the Mandalorians that were off in different areas. Now we're stronger. And then we're going to keep doing what we're going to do. Yep. And you're like, okay, well, glad I helped you do that, I guess.
I love the doomedness of the Mandalorians, which is really funny to contrast it now. It's like, all right, the last Mandalorian dies in the battle of Geonosis, and it's like, psych, just kidding. There's actually a whole planet of them. Actually, not only that, there's a whole planet. There's also going to be TV shows about them. Bad ones at that. You cannot even conceive how many bad shows we can make for these Mandalorian people.
So many.
And now they're good. They're also good people. Now the Mandalorians are cool.
Yeah.
And cool and good. And they're actually helpful. And they help the galaxy.
Because that's marketable.
Right.
True.
You can't have bad guys. You can't Canderous is not marketable, I don't think, to children.
Mm-mm. Not while Disney's at the reins.
Unfortunately, they nerfed his ass. He had a better ass in KOTOR 1 than in 2. Can't do much about that.
He's an old man now.
He's an old man now. He's not doing as many squats. But you'd think with the armor. Wearing the armor all the time.
I thought that was an interesting aspect to this game, too, is having characters that have certain slots blocked off.
Classic Planescape
hand.
Torment.
Yeah, I mean, Kreia with her hand getting chopped off,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, so you're permanently in this set of mode or things. And then with Canderous or Mandalore, you only get to have this armor equipped, which is pretty detrimental for...
It's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's especially bad if you don't ever use the workbench at all, which this playthrough was the first time I actually exploited the workbench to its entirely.
Oh.
That's how I got so brokenly overpowered, was just abusing the heck out of that thing.
You got to build things.
Yeah.
You got to break down components, build components. You can sell things.
If you're a high skills character, you can max out the stats of every piece of equipment you put on your body.
Yeah. It's hard for me not to metagame with this game a lot because I just know a whole lot of different options there are for different things. And so I know at one point Kreia's like, what's your weakest skill? Make that your strongest skill and I'll give you a bonus. And I already pre-planned to choose a feat to make computer use, one of my skills, so I could max that out. And so I had like 15 points saved up waiting for that moment. And then I boosted up and immediately talked to her and she's like, wow, you really learned your lesson. And I'm like, I sure did.
I love that's video games to me. Just like having a conversation with a character, opening up your stat sheet, dump all the points in, have another conversation, the character going, you did a great job. You worked so hard for this. And it's like, you're right, but in a different way.
It makes me feel so good though. And I'm like, yes, I did do that. I did wait all of my points to put them in just now.
How about T3? How do we feel about T3, the droid?
Best little buddy.
Best little buddy?
Best little buddy.
In the game or?
Not in the game. Just I love T3 as a character. I think he's the cutest little dude. I don't use him that much, except to go get a computer spike from him.
Yeah.
But he's just, I don't know. He's cute, and he tries so hard.
I had a fun conversation where HK was talking about how much he wanted to get that damn T3 unit, basically. And then, like, in the background, T3 just, like, leaves the room. I love how he's just wandering the ship. I feel like it's so mean if you just, like, can you just stay put, T3? I'm like, he's working on this ship.
Same with Beodor's little remote. Can you stop moving? I've even playing a bad guy, I never said that to the little robot. I didn't want to be mean to him.
I think Remote's the better guy. Remote's just cute as a concept. I just like a little remote droid that just wanders around and infuriates people. For some reason, it just pisses people off, like Goto.
Yeah.
So Goto hates it.
How do we feel about Goto?
Why is he here?
Never use him.
Well, he has like a non-conventional way of he has a non-conventional way of quote-unquote helping the Republic by breaking all the rules. So like he has like gangs to get secret money to put into the government for funds and things and get programs started, is what I understood.
Also, I think he's there because he just admires your work in the Mandalorian Wars is part of it too. It's the shadow generator.
Why do we let him on the ship, though?
That is a very valid question.
Why? Like that's why I'm wondering. Why
I think
is he
he
here?
threatens to like blow up if you don't, which would kill everyone on the ship.
It's simply because the game doesn't let you reject him. It says, no, I'm going to be on your ship and monitor you so that you don't ruin my plans. And you can't really say no to him.
By monitor, I mean send my primary myself because I'm actually not a guy. I'm actually just a droid doing all this who's watched mobster Hollow movies.
Yeah.
I thought he wanted to join because he doesn't want you to destroy artifacts.
He says a lot of things, but I think Goto was kind of a lot of cut.
Are you saying that he isn't an actual dude controlling this droid? That he's?
Oh yeah, did you not know that?
I guess I still believed that the hollow projection was of an actual man somewhere.
No. Goto is the droid that's floating in your party.
That makes me even more like, what the
I
fuck
do love that.
to the end of the
Yeah.
game.
Oh yeah, the end of the game makes no sense whatsoever.
Because he
at
is
all.
just like, we gotta stay here and go off with the shadow engine.
So that projection is his fake, gang person that he uses to get funds for the government.
Yeah. And also, like, coordinate mobsters who wouldn't take orders from a droid. Which, again, is really weird that, like, droids... This is the most droids are people, but also droids are things that I own game. And I'm like, choose one, please. This is killing me.
They really pushed for letting you choose. Do you think a lot of these robots are sentient? In which a lot of point in times, at least your companions do, they break into... Because they all have their own personalities, and they don't have a lot of prime directives, except for HK wanting to assassinate people and submitting to you, his master. But no, talking about T3, definitely, I would say definitely the strongest droid. I never used Goto, but maybe he's stronger. But T3, with the amount of, if you pass all the skill checks, you make him very strong. And then his
T3 can meditate and give you force points.
Yeah, that too. Yep. While you're out in combat.
What?
Did you not, Red? Did you not know that?
You'll set him aside, and if he's taken any amount of damage, you can talk to him and be like, I want to repair you, and I think you bring it back up to full, and then you restore your force points in the middle of combat.
Yeah.
So you have to wait.
To max out all the repairs and upgrades you can do on him with computer use and repair.
Okay.
You also get to see a video of Bastila after you complete all those skill checks and everything, where she says,
"Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope."
That skipped completely for me. That was one of the things I was so excited. Oh, yay. Then
I'm sorry. What'd she say, Max?
No, I was just saying, like, she just says, like, she's like, talks about how Revan can't talk about where he's going, and I think she's the one that has T3 go and search for the exile or help people that want to help Revan. So he finds Kreia / and you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. T3 picking up the worst fucking person in the galaxy. Hold up. This lady looks mysterious. I'm getting goodish vibes from her. She definitely wants to find the exile, that's for sure. I do. Yeah.
Well, wait. Side note: would T3 know that she's Reverend's like old master?
Probably. You know what? That's a very valid point.
Because like Reverend basically abandons T3, which is sad. I would never abandon T3.
Or Revan left T3 to gather the Avengers.
Well, that's better.
Yeah, if you read I think it's in the book. It's covered. I think.
God, I don't want to talk about any of that. I don't want to talk about an ancient emperor who like force prisons Revan and then I don't know turns to dust. In exile.
It's a weird choice.
Yeah.
And then the Old Republic as a entity that continues the story.
Yeah, Revan's story past that point I never read too much into it because it never interested me.
It's not good.
I wish it was something different, and I would have been more interested in his story past that point.
It's so weird.
It's
so
very
boring.
weird.
Yeah, so who's our favorite companion? We kind of just went through a few of them. Oh, yeah, nobody likes Handmaiden. Nobody likes...
I like Handmaiden for the stat boost. That's it. I never used her past that point.
Beodur. We didn't talk about
we didn't talk about Bao-Dur.
He doesn't get as much dialogue as I wish he did.
No.
But I like him. He's cool. He's a very interesting character.
His great-ass force barrier breaking ability that you totally use all the time.
All of one time.
I think it breaks enemy shields, if you use it against them in combat.
Does break enemy shields.
High enough damage also does that. And
Yep.
No, yeah.
He also talks real softly.
He does.
I'm like constantly whispering about the war, General.
Also, the architect of the mass shadow generator.
Whatever the fuck that is.
A gravity bomb, I think, is what it
Atom
was.
bomb, but what if gravity instead of atom?
I think it just
guess.
produces a crap ton of gravity and forced all the ships to blow up into Malachor, and then Malachor imploded on itself, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
Made a machine that's honestly really strong.
Yeah.
A Sith super weapon, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
He should be in fucking prison.
I don't think so. Bodor doesn't. No, Bodor is shown that even you can come back from the worst.
He's Star Wars Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he's
He-
Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah, he does have
He is.
remorse.
He's
for
He's
it.
extreme remorse for it.
Yeah.
It feels like even the first time you talk to him, his soft voice is all part of that, where he seems like he's been shattered, and now it's just
Broken
like,
man.
Yeah.
and that's why he's talking to the Ithorians and is like, I would love to heal a planet rather than destroy a planet, and I think that's really cool of his story. Like I said, I wish there's more dialogue. You go to him and your two options
Nothing
are
to talk
goodbye or can I have more shields, and he says no.
Yep.
I do like him, imagining him as the new Jedi Guardian,
Yeah.
the leader of the Jedi Guardians, though. He has a good story for a Guardian, you know? Like,
But also, this game's so cynical about Jedis. Why does that even happen at all?
whatever. It's got to happen
That-
someday. You know, it's Star Wars.
I know.
They
I know,
set
but
themselves up for this as a prequel. Like, they can't just reject the Jedi Order in.
But why does my companions have to, who also have a complex history with the Jedi?
Well, if you are
Maybe
evil,
that's why.
If you are evil, they do take the Sith counterpart of the classes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but it's still all Jedi stuff.
it's still all Jedi stuff. That's my thing. It's like they all like shoehorned in to be secret Jedi. I'm like, stop. And like you have like a force reason that this is happening.
Yeah.
Your character has a force bond that infects everyone.
I will say, I think my favorite character, at least in the first game, and some more in this one too, HK-47, his dialogue is just fun to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
All of his statement and saying the emotion first and then saying everything in the same exact tone of voice. That's fun dialogue
it
for me
is
to
good.
read and listen into. I think the only way you can really max out his influence if you are a kick the puppy kind of character, because all of his influence gains are, Master, I really love that you killed that guy for no reason, and then you gain influence from him. Yeah. The fun part at the end of it, though, is when you find his final upgrade is the pacifist module, where you can install that, and you get a funny little dialogue where he's like, he becomes so much nicer, and he just comes back to a protocol droid, and he's like, I feel like something very core to my system is missing now. Yeah. And then your only option is to remove it after the dialogue, but I think it gets a stat boost from it.
Wisdom.
Wisdom. One of the strongest stats on a droid. Resist all those forced mind tricks.
That everyone's totally doing to them.
Yeah.
So, least favorite.
Ooh. I mean, Disciple is easy one to say for me. I've never chose him, but I mean, in terms of character alone, I mean, probably the Handmaiden. I never really understood her whole story about a lot of things. I know of her that her mom was a Jedi guardian, I think she was.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jedi Knight, and then her sisters hate her because she has a different mom. And that whole side thing, everything.
There's again weird gender stuff happening in this game where it does not like women.
No, not at all.
Just in general.
One funny side note about the Handmaidens, though, is that the side quest where you fight them in 1v1 combat and then 1v6 combat or 1v5. Funnily enough, I can't use my force powers for that fight, so I was at a severe disadvantage. However, you can just walk at them, and their character model does not want to be in the same space as you, so they'll take a step back. And then one of the rules is that if they leave the fighting area, you lose. So you can beat them completely without attacking them once, and then just walk into them. They take a step back, walk into them, take a step back, and then you just win that way. And
That's
so
amazing.
That rules.
So I do that every time now that I figured that part out. So you can just completely cheese through that.
Amazing.
What about you, Red? What's your favorite, least favorite?
I think Goto.
Least favorite?
Least favorite.
Yeah.
At least least used.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I didn't have a use for him. If I wanted a droid, I was going to use T3.
Okay. Favorite?
Kreia. I don't know. I wanted her to like me. Even though I know destined to hate. I know
you.
she's
Because she hates and loves everything.
but I like having her around. And I think it's partly because you get her in the beginning, and so I just kept having her around.
Yeah.
She's a really hard companion for you want to let go, because you can use her if you're playing as a melee character or like non-force related, have her as a sidekick, put her on the stance of like Jedi support or whatever, and then now you have every single buff activated at the same time, and you don't have to cast anything. You can just run around and go kill all the enemies instead. So it's really hard to step away from her because she's a really strong companion for that.
And then you got to at some point.
Yeah.
Bean?
For what?
Favorite, least favorite?
Oh, I think I already answered. I really liked Kreia, and I think my least favorite was probably Atten. Because
Atten's a lot, especially if you're a woman.
Yeah, I really just didn't talk to him. I avoided him. I didn't level him up. I didn't give him any equipment. And then I had to play him when he was fighting the Twi'lek sisters, and then that was an issue. So then I was just throwing bombs behind me and running in circles and killing them that way. So, but I did defeat them, but it took a really long time.
Classic KOTOR fight.
Yeah.
Throwing bombs or placing down mines.
Placing mines. Whenever I got into a fight.
Spamming mines right before the entryway.
Whenever I couldn't get past a boss fight. I know the big one was the Force Beast, the large Force Beast. When I was a kid, I could never beat that one until at some point I had like, I've got 16 plasma mines in my inventory. I'll make a straight line and he can walk straight to me, and then he's at half HP that I can just barely squeak by when I was younger playing it.
You get so many free deadly mines from Gato's ship is what I'll say.
Yeah, jeez.
Wait, so real quick, so that beast, when you run into like the kingdom or castle or whatever, are you supposed to fight them or not?
Kingdom or castle?
On Malachor?
When you're gonna go to the princess.
And
there's that
Onderon.
right before.
You fight them.
Yeah.
Okay, because mine actually glitched and it kept saying you're not supposed to fight it. You're supposed to just run to the next room, and then I did that.
Whoa! Oh, that's right. There was a storm beast right before you get to the final encounter. I forgot about that.
You're not supposed to.
Interesting.
Right.
Because
I killed it.
I killed it.
Oh.
I just ignored it.
Okay. Because I wanted to kill it, but then they were like, "No, don't do that."
They do say that. They say, "Go rush ahead. We'll take care. We'll stop the storm beast or whatever." And I think the cutscene is like, then if one of their team immediately dies in the cutscene, I'm like, okay, well they failed. I'll go kill it then.
Right.
I mean, at the point too, it takes like 3-4 storms to kill it, and I walk past it. But yeah, it was.
See, if I killed it, I couldn't go into the room. It wouldn't let me go into.
Weird buggy things with
Yeah.
KOTOR 2.
Jake, how about you? Favorite, least favorite character?
My favorite and least favorite was Kreia. My favorite because she was so useful, but least favorite because she was such a downer to have around. She genuinely when it said pick your party people, I was like, I have to have Kreia because she's such great support, but I just know that she's going to bring us down. This is going to be a bummer, but that's okay. I mean, I never used Goto, so maybe that's more of like a more generic least favorite answer. But yeah, that's how I felt.
Okay. Uncle?
Yeah, Beodur's definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
Really interesting character to me.
Wish there was more.
And I think least favorite, I don't know. Goto maybe just because, like everybody else, underutilized, I think, underdeveloped. Not that interesting in combat, unless you're fighting droids, and even then it's easier. I think Vizis, though, also kind of disappointing. The really interesting, she sees the Force. There's so much interesting commentary she could have on so much that happens. So many interesting conversations I would imagine you could have with this character as a whole in the Force. You are a living hole in the Force, and she sees through the Force. And you get almost no commentary on that. And just generally, you don't really find out a lot about her as a person. She's a light side or dark side. She's ultimately just a tool for you to beat Darth Nihilus.
Well, she also just has like nothing to say. Like she
That's what I'm
joined
saying.
Darth Nihilus even though he killed her family and the planet, and then she goes, "Well, I was forced to do that, but now I'm not forced, and I want to be with you." But then she kind of goes, "Oh, maybe I should kind of help him. I don't know, or maybe I should help you. I don't know." And it's like, you gotta pick a lane. Like, I'm sorry, but you can see the Force, you can see it, and you can feel it. And I feel like if she saw like the death of the planet and her family, she'd go, "Okay, yeah, I don't like that Nihilus guy. He made me join him, and he made me do bad things, and I didn't like that, and I didn't like feeling him suck the life force out of people." But she doesn't say any of that.
Well, my actual major thing is my issue with her is she talks too much about her trauma because that's all of it. That's it. That's her only character trait is bad thing happened.
Leave that in and then add the rest of the character, I think is what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's what my thing is. Like, stop spending so much time talking about how bad this thing that happened was. Can we maybe talk about, like, what about your family dynamic?
Yeah.
What family did you even have? We don't know if she had siblings.
Tell me about your species that's been wiped out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is really interesting though that like she wants to join you, a known planet destroyer, after her planet got destroyed.
There's nothing on that, too.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
that is
point.
weird.
That's the first thing that I realized when I was talking to her again this time. I'm like, why isn't there any comment about, hey, you also destroyed a planet? How did that make you feel?
You know, you're almost exactly like my master in a lot of ways.
Like, or maybe have her just be like, you know, I'm feeling. Maybe she learns it, and then it's like, I'm feeling really weird about this.
Yeah.
And maybe they'd had more time.
Yeah.
To plan it. This is the
wish
thing.
they
It's
did.
like
I think
these
the
all
characters
feel like first drafts in a way, except for like Kreia. Kreia feels
Yeah.
like the most like we worked on her the most.
Yeah.
That's the linchpin, and that's fine, honestly.
Sure.
And I'm sure no one saw Hanhar because I'm sure most people
why?
played light side.
As a kid, I always used Hanhar
He's-
because as a Kick the Puppy player, he's really powerful.
He is-
You make him unbelievably powerful by destroying him.
Yeah, he is the organic version of HK, and it's not because you're right because he has the Wookiee rage where it's essentially Force Valor and speed because he gets additional attacks per round, and then he does a power attack, and then you're doing triple digits like 4 times in a row for every attack. He's extremely broken in terms of how strong he is, and like
I did not know that.
And his main influence in terms of talking to him is you're trying to get to the point where you break him, and he just realizes
It's bad.
it's dark. It's pretty. It's probably definitely the darkest character because you just belittle him because essentially what happened to him is he killed his entire tribe to protect them from Zerka, so that they didn't have to go and slay. And he's really struggling trying to grasp anything around that. And you just if you're playing Kick the Puppy, you really jam your finger into him and then say like you're just a tool, you're just a dead thing that's a tool for me to use and to abuse. And he loses intelligence and then he gains a strength. A fun glitch about the game though, you can keep doing that over and over again until he gets 0 intelligence and then goes up to 256 intelligence because of how the integer is stored in the game.
Then you berate him so much, he becomes so smart.
Yep, and it makes
Unlocks-
it
unlocks
He's
big brain
enlightened
Hanhar.
by your evil.
it makes it really interesting when you go to level up the next time and he has a lot more skill points than he should have for it.
God, I think my favorite is Kreia. I like Kreia even though she's the worst. Least favorite is Disciple. I just don't like Disciple. Yeah. I don't find anything about him interesting.
I forgot about him again.
Yeah, a big.
I forgot about
He's
him.
a
This says
big
a lot.
nothing burger.
And because he was your apprentice, he could be so interesting.
Yep.
And nope, ran out of time.
Again, they all feel like first drafts.
Yep.
And I kind of want to talk about the Force in this game as like a general concept because this game does feel like it treats the Force differently than how I conceive the Force. And I thought I was more aligned with this game, but the way they talk about it's mostly okay. So it's mostly like Force sensitive. How do we? Not even that. I'm going too far. Does anyone feel like it's weird, or is it just me? Is this
Weird how?
Yeah.
okay? So they talk about like the Force is just tied genetically more to people than I think it's supposed to be.
How?
Well, though they talk about Vista because her species are really tied to the Force.
Right. Like they just have a natural predilection towards the Force.
They have more midichlorians.
But like the midichlorian things, like even watching the prequels, it doesn't feel like the midichlorian things is just real. It's just like what Jedi use as like a weird qualifier. They just can't figure anything out based on a preliminary screening. Let's just use this number.
It does feel like a cult energy that they're just like saying, this is what's describing you on the tier of how strong you are.
Right.
And I don't even know how real that is. It's just like, it's just some number like, oh, you are strong with the Force. That means you have high midichlorians, whether or not that's a real thing or not.
Right. And like this game does feel like it treats that though as real. Like that sort of thing as like there's some species that don't touch the Force at all, and like that's always been weird to me because like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The Force is everything.
Yeah, that I haven't really looked into that a whole ton in terms of how does the Force actually exist in the world? Because it's strange that there are some species that don't have any connection, where like Force is also seen as like the life of the world at sometimes.
It connects life and death. It's both.
And people can become vacuums in the Force, and you can wipe out a whole planet with a Force ritual.
And that's why I'm like, this game just seems like the Force is just generic magic, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that is an influence of the writing staff of this, Obsidian, and especially like the lead game director, Chris Avallone, notorious shitbag and writing hack, in my opinion. But this is one of the better led works. I just kind of like it like gets me weird when like to talk about like whenever Chris says specifically Force sensitives, I'm like, I've never heard anyone say that out loud in Star Wars. That feels like just a fan term. I don't know. Does anyone feel any weirdness about that? Or is this is just coming from me?
I've only ever experienced this from you bringing it up at this point in time. Yeah. So yeah. But I think it's always just been. I've always seen it. It's space magic, and some people can use it, some people can't use it. Just like magic in like D&D of any other types. And I think they're just trying to find different ways to explain why this world has magic in space time.
Yeah, but like the other thing is George Lucas always explained it as like it's like exercising. Anyone can access the Force, just not everyone does it. And I really like that conception of the Force.
I don't think they want you to think about it that much in this game.
But they do want me to think about the Force.
They do, but I think Max got it with that. They do just want you to think about this as magic. It's just magic.
Yeah.
There are good influences in magic, and there are dark influences in magic, and you can become a different kind of entity in this world through the magic that you choose to use. I think that's the extent they want you to think about it.
And I think that makes the Force less interesting.
I think it's definitely a hard part with the writing in this game, where trying to figure out what Kreia wants, because it seems like she wants no one to be able to use the Force, and she thinks that Force is a crutch because no one should be tied to one single strength that they're beholden to, and if they lose that, then they're nothing.
Right, but they also teach you to use the Force constantly.
She's constantly using the Force and everything, and uses it to attain her goals. I think
and she makes a comment about that. It's like, I'm not so special. I'm doing the thing I'm criticizing.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, okay.
And it's like, then stop criticizing me for doing all the things that I'm doing, but she won't.
Right. And like, I don't know if the game does enough to buy me into her psychoses and mental. She has a mental illness of sorts for sure. That woman.
Yeah, I mean,
she's a black hole that sucks all joy.
Definitely the ending of the game. It's definitely one of the weakest points of it, I say, and I think it probably adds to the confusion or the mystique that you have with the Force in this game, and why it brought up differently for you. It's just, I think it's a lot of answers unanswered, or questions unanswered. Yeah.
For me, it was more just the overall arc and idea of the grip of the Force on the galaxy, and everyone had a different opinion on that, and everyone had a different way to address or use or abuse that grip on the galaxy. And I think it was just really, for me, I just found it interesting that everyone had a different opinion on it. Yeah. And I didn't really take it as like, this is the core rule. It was just more, everyone knew it existed, but everyone has a different way of going about it.
And I do like that, but it also just like when Kreia speaks on the Force, it's so definitive, and the game's like, yeah, this is how it actually works. She knows how it works. People just try to understand it in their cultural view lens.
Well, no, I get that. That's what you're saying. But I'm saying, like, even though she was saying all these definitive things, like, me as a player, I was like, okay, like, that's your opinion. That's just how you view it.
So that's just, I don't know. Maybe this is me because I think about the Force a lot. Running Star Wars campaigns, I'm constantly thinking about it. And I'm just, like, sitting there like, what is it?
I think what this game is just trying to say, I think it's just, like, trying to force... Kreia thinks this is the opinion of this Force that is real, and I think at least in my headcanon for all the Star Wars stuff is everyone thinks they have it all figured out, but no one has it figured out, because otherwise there'd be one person in charge, I think, if they had everything figured out.
I think George got it figured out. I don't know.
I don't think George has anything going on in his head.
No, I mean, like, when maybe this is a me thing. It's like when George says the Force works like X, I'm like, well, yeah, that's how the Force works. He's the guy who made it. I don't know. And, like, when it was his job to think about that, specifically, that sort of era. That's why I think about the exercise thing a lot. I'm like, yeah, that's the Force. Anyone can access the Force. Droids can access the Force.
Do we want to talk about the planets at all?
Let's talk
or-
about the planets now. Yeah, let's kind of like get into the planets, the general, like we kind of talked about big ideas. Let's get into
What was
specific.
What was everybody's first planet they went to?
I was going to actually ask, how do we feel about Paragus as a tutorial facility in a complete inverse to like Terrace in the first game?
After playing it so many times, it is the barrier for replayability for me. Terrace and Telos combined together, it's really rough. But that's just me playing the game so many times. Anytime I'll play it again, I'll usually download the skip, where you can skip past all of it, and it gives you all the items in EXP.
Yep.
But for tutorial, I think it worked pretty okay.
Could you send me that mod?
Yes,
Like-
it's on the Steam Workshop. I think it's literally called Paragus Skip or something. like that.
It's a very famous, like if you look top rated mods, it's like right up there.
I
'Cause
played on
that's
the
needed.
Switch, and I'm pretty sure it gives you the option to skip the prologue.
Well, it gives you the option to skip the tutorial, but not all of Paragus mining facility.
Funnily enough, I believe the Switch has the majority of the restored content mod on it.
Kind of.
I think it's the bug fixes the majority of
The
what
bug
they have
fixes,
installed
yes,
into
but
it.
none of the story content because they couldn't figure out how to integrate it.
Yes.
Which, bummer, I guess. Bean, do you have any opinion about Paragus?
Well, again, it was just a lot of talking and playing it the second time around, and I wish I could skip it. There was no way
Yeah.
to skip it because I already knew what to do, and they
It's
made
long.
you have to find the recordings, and then they make you have
Yep.
to talk to HK, then you have to go back to
Yep.
the recording. So it's not like you could just listen to it the first time and go, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that's like a big part of the issue is it is a great tone setter, but it's also very isolating and it can feel weird. There's no other NPCs besides 2 other people. Like, quiet.
Yeah, and the amount of dialogue you have with the one NPC you really have dialogue, the HK unit, is probably the most talking you do with any single character in the entire game. And it's like the first person other than Atten. You have a couple mini conversations and Kreia a couple mini conversations. But you can talk to this fucking HK unit forever.
Yeah.
And there really is not another character in the entire game that you talk to that much.
No.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
And then he dies.
Well, then even like the captain that's like explaining all the captain log stuff, like that was just also really long.
Yeah.
There's so much writing in Paragus.
Yes.
This game can be very tedious at some points.
Long-winded. Yes. Paragus is a great
Yeah.
example of that.
You doing okay, Jake? Do you
We're
want to
talking about Paragus, but there's another planet that I...
Yeah, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to bring it up? What planet?
Well, no, we're talking about Paragus.
Okay.
Any other opinions about Paragus?
Any about opinions, or are we good to go to Telos?
I'm just very happy to know that I'll be able to skip it in the future.
I do like the asteroid field as a concept. Like, just like, here's this very volatile mining asteroid field. Please don't set off a laser, fucking idiots. You're going to kill not only us, but the planet? The planet.
I like how it tries to give you an illusion of choice a little bit. It was like, do you want to shoot the asteroid so you can make your escape, or do you want to try to escape without shooting the asteroids? And then either way, the asteroids blow up, and then the planet explodes.
Yep.
And which is also funny. It's another time that you are indirectly, but kind of directly involved in another planet's explosion.
You're a planet killer.
Yes, a very dangerous person.
Because also it kills 2 planets.
Yeah, you guarantee Telos is destroyed if you don't set up a new fueled
Gas
gimbal.
pipeline.
Yeah.
You gotta-
Essentially.
Yeah.
God, we gotta make the great XL Keystone Pipeline to save Telos, to save the Republic. So yeah, we get to Telos, which was mentioned in the first game. Who remembers why it was mentioned in the first game? Who knows?
Karth's home planet.
Yeah, it's Karth's homeworld. Karth Onassi, classic BioWare guy. Everyone loves Karth Onassi.
I did like his voice growing up throughout the entirety of it.
Good voice.
I
Yes.
love
Yeah.
Caden
Yeah.
Alenko.
And so that's why I always had him in my parties whenever I played the games. I'm like, I want to hear you talk more.
Yeah,
But Telos is boring.
yes. Telos?
Yeah, no. Nope, it's boring. It's hard for me too because I think that was actually I wanted to play a bad guy playthrough. I'm not working for fucking Zerka. Like, that's an impossible decision for me. Don't make me work for the evil corporation, please.
Yeah. It was really rough playing the Kick the Puppy playthrough where I'm like, I got to that point where I'm like, oh, wait, I can't side with the Ithorians. And it's even worse. I'm like, I am now dooming this ecological project to rebuild this planet.
But profit.
True. Yeah, profit. Yeah. And it's weird, too, when you join with Zerka, you end up killing the majority of Zerka, too, anyways, because... just how the dark side playthrough goes through, and it's just a really we said, it's a very hollow experience playing through the game as a super evil Sith guy.
I don't think Telos is helped by the fact it's like 3 really oddly shaped like maps.
Yeah, it's super annoying to navigate. The apartments I always get lost trying to find which apartment's which. Bad design. I think all around bad design. Revisiting it sucks too later in the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to revisit it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a lot more interesting if you didn't have to go there immediately after Paragus, because you're confined to an area in Paragus, and then you're confined to Telos, and it feels really weird while you're there, and you're kind of like roaming around, backtracking
Playing
a lot.
like half the game.
Another inverse Dantooine too, though.
Yeah.
Where the game opens up in Dantooine a bit, this one's like, nope, narrow.
Yeah. I think if maybe like after your first planet you go to, you get stopped by the Republic, and they're like, hey, you have to answer for this planet exploding, and then confine you to Telos, maybe? I don't know, but I feel like you need a little bit more openness after Paragus to go do something first before getting confined. I thought it was funny, though, that Atten constantly gets imprisoned in all the different areas, and he always makes a comment about it.
And he was a jailer himself. Interesting. Capturing Jedi and torturing them.
Yeah.
Weird. It's like poetry.
So, first planets. How about that?
Well, I wanted to say I do like the polar region.
Oh, and the Secret Academy for
yeah. I like the Secret Academy. It's nice, meeting Atris.
I think
bad vibes abound.
Yeah, I mean, you can. If you've played one of the KOTOR games before, you can look in, you can see those are definitely Sith holocrons in there. Leaving supposed Jedi Master leaving a Sith holocron room, and also being very filled with emotion throughout your entire dialogue with her.
Really pissed off.
Where you can't convince her of any facts or anything. She will always just be full of emotionally driven, and it's like, I wonder what's going to happen to her later in the game.
Yeah.
You exiled me from my emotion, and yet you're the one who's mad. Fascinating.
Yeah, Atris is very, very interesting character. And also, just going back to Telos real quick, I was blown away that you could sell other people in Pazak. Because I think the girlfriend gets sold, and then she has to do it. Like, it's not even like she got a choice. It was like, she was his property to sell. But no,
do we have Atris thoughts? Yeah, since
Atris.
No, not really, Uncle?
Not really, no.
I like Atris. I don't know.
She's a bad Jedi.
I continuing like she looks like wearing the robes of like the Jedi historian lady from Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Continuing the tradition of women who wear that or have bad vibes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's interesting because it does pinpoint like the hypocrisy of Jedis, where it's like, how dare you do this thing? And they get so hung up on that thing that you did that they fall into that thing. And now they're so emotionally driven by what you did.
Projection.
Yes. And it kind of builds up the infuriation for Jedi being so pompous and being just as bad.
And like, this is also kind of like one of the things where I'm like, I wish the game maybe you just focused on maybe the Jedi Master you had to find every time was Atris. And we're finding another reason why she is falling. And we just get this kind of journey of these hints of her falling, and then finally it's revealed, she is out for your ass.
Yeah.
Or something, because I feel like there's just so much. There's so much going on at all times, especially in Telos, where it's like, here's the Ithorians, here's Circa, here's the Exchange, here's the Republic. Everyone's lying to you for their own agendas.
Yeah.
Figure it out. But if it was more focused on this Jedi conflict and maybe how they were lying for their own agendas, maybe it would have meshed well more. It just feels, I guess, I keep saying it, first draft. It feels first draft. Here's all our great ideas we want to explore in the game. I hope we got enough time to explore them all.
No, they needed to go more deep in her story, because I didn't really get, like, I understood where she was coming from, but, like, again, there was no really build up to that moment at near the end where you, like, fight her.
Yeah, it was like, you
was
meet her
just...
once, now she's a Dark Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One piece of information I thought was interesting, though, is where you find out from talking to the Jedi Masters that you actually, like, she was the one that sent all of the message to other Jedi to meet on the planet that got eaten by Nihilus.
And she wasn't there.
And she didn't show up when she. So it's
that's
like,
just left, right? Nobody. We never find out why that happened.
I thought it was because she's a very complicated Jedi in the sense that she's a necessary character to show how fucked up the Jedi were, because she thinks that she's so self-righteous and everything that she does is correct, and so she made a trap for the Sith by telling all the Jedi to go there, and then she didn't provide any backup, any protection for them. She didn't even tell them it's going to be a trap, and then they all got killed. And
oh, so you think it was like poor planning?
yeah, like it was like on purpose in the sense, because she was like playing chess. She sent the Jedi to the planet to get killed because she was going to try to catch them the Sith as they were leaving the planet, and then she didn't catch them.
Classics. I'm saying I'm going to do something and I forgot to do it. Oh shit. Right, the Jedi meeting was today. Fuck.
Wasn't I supposed to like help them?
I was supposed to do something.
I was going to swoop in and be the hero because I'm the hero in my story.
Shit, can I reschedule that? No, they're probably dead. They're probably dead.
I didn't even tell them to bring anything. I just said, meet here. Come peacefully.
So what planet would we like to talk about first, post-Telos?
I'm curious to know what everyone's first choice was.
Nar Shaddaa for this playthrough.
Nar Shaddaa.
Same.
Nar Shaddaa.
Wow, did we all?
Nar Shaddaa.
Really?
Yeah,
All right,
I feel like
I hated it so much. I can't
Talk
even
more.
explain. It's just so bloated, and every time you move forward, somebody's like, "Well, actually, I need you to do this thing," and it's just back and forth all over them. It just kept going. I'm sorry.
No,
I hated it.
There are
That's-
weird difficulty
It felt like
spikes.
half of the game was Nar Shaddaa. It's like a quarter of the game is before Nar Shaddaa, and then like 50% of the game is Nar Shaddaa, and then the last quarters. I'm sure that's not it, but that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
I don't think it helped having to essentially get through it as fast as I could, because I kept thinking, let's just go, but it just felt very bloated.
Nar Shaddaa is just... It is very start and stop. You're playing this character. You're playing that character.
yep.
Here's all the party interacting. All the planets are going to be like this. Right?
Yeah. Besides the quick sidetrack, I had a way to a different planet to get the HK part first. Nar Shaddaa was also the first planet I could. I feel like it's the first planet you're expected to go to, at least on forums that I've seen on Reddit and stuff, and people talk about it. It's like they almost always say Nar Shaddaa first, then I don't know where they go past that, but I think it's usually Onderon or something. But
Isn't it where Atten tells you to go?
Yep, and also tells you to go there.
there you go. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
He keeps bringing up Nar Shaddaa like he's horny for it, so...
It does.
You
You
just
want to
gotta go.
disappear? Go to Nar Shaddaa.
It's funny though when I, fun enough playing through the game again, and then remembering how small Korriban is, where it's like literally 20 minutes in and out.
That was
adventure.
my favorite.
I always
planet.
thought how interesting it would be to start with that as your first planet to go to.
It's like, what the fuck is happening?
And you're like, well, this game's going to be over in 10 minutes.
I used to do Nar Shaddaa last just because that was the order I did it the first time. Don't ever do that.
Yikes! Yeah, you get two companions there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say don't do Korriban too early, though. Because I did it after Nar Shaddaa, and it was too early, because then you go, there's that cave in the back that you can't enter yet.
The Apathy is Death Cave.
I love that.
But then I forgot to go back for that cave.
Oh, yeah, the trial you go through when you see all the force projections.
That was part of why that was my favorite planet. 'Cause I just thought that was so interesting.
I
and
love
so
the
cool.
Force Projection Cave.
That was
I love a Force Projection Cave.
It's definitely the only
too.
real piece of substance of that planet, I think.
Yeah.
Everything else is
And-
pretty...
And that's optional.
Yeah,
Which is
optional
the
too.
worst part.
Yeah, the best part of the planet is completely optional and missable too if you get there too early.
And just forget.
Yeah.
Did anyone get the Sith holocron in the Sith Academy?
You have to decide that Revan was evil. It's the only way to do it.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you have to blow the door.
Yeah.
Because the holocron is Bastila saying Revan was evil.
Yeah.
Basically, and he told me to do this thing, and I don't really remember all the details, but yeah, you have to decide Revan was evil.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just a dialogue choice, and then it hits a flag where it's like you don't have to blow up the door in order to get in, and you can the holocron say
This was fused with a lightsaber. I could unfuse it with a lightsaber.
Yep.
But you don't get that option unless you made that random arbitrary decision at the beginning of the game.
Only explosives.
My comment is, I felt like Telos very much felt like there was a mixing of ideas and everyone wanted to do it their way, and it just wasn't happening, and it was very political. I felt like Nar Shaddaa, it was like so choppy. You were bouncing around from here to there, to go to there, you go to here, go to there. Oh, now you're doing this. Oh, now you're doing that. Oh, now you're helping the refugees. Or, oh, now the Rebin Hawk is blah, 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 blah. Oh, the Eclipse gang.
It's like vignettes of, like, you have to have these series of events play out in order to continue the main story. So you're just waiting for the Eclipse to board your ship.
Yeah, there was no
You're
flow.
winning swoop race. Like,
the whole
nothing's
planet
connected. You just got to cause commotion.
The whole planet is complete X amount of side quests before we'll let the main story continue on, and you get to go and do a bunch of random different things, which is or isn't interesting. Most of the time, not so much interesting.
Oh yeah, most of the time, not so much.
Yeah,
I like Goto's ship. It's a neat little ship, like a crescent moon with its cockpit way forward.
I like the design of it.
I really like the design of the ship. I don't like the ship doing it, but
I was going to say, really, you liked that?
No.
I really like sitting, kneeling down and grabbing up all the mines every.
I did enjoy that. I did level up from that.
I liked it for all the pieces that I got to make components for things, but was that chemicals for that? I think it was components for mines.
Something.
Yeah,
components, chemicals.
But no, that was the main reason I went to a different planet. When I replayed the whole game was because in order to get you can't get HK early enough to be able to bring him on Goto's ship. If you go to Nar Shaddaa first, you need to have him built before that point. But because there's different terminals on there where you get attribute bonuses based on what droid is there to download them, and that's why I restarted the entire game, went through Paragus and Telos again.
Oh my god.
Just to get those, like, 2 bonuses to attributes. And that's how I play games. And that's why it's so hard for me to... If I miss something, I'm like, how back's my load save? Too far? Okay, time to do a renew one. And then...
I can't. That couldn't be me.
Yeah, it was very fast skipping through all the dialogue on Telos and Paragus. And it still takes way too long when you do that.
Should we talk about Onderon next?
And Duxon.
And Duxon.
Yeah, 2-part planet. The moon and the planet. I like the Duxon moon. It's real quick. You run through the jungle, you do some little adventures, you impress some Mandalorians.
Another do side quest until the main quests progress.
Kinda, yeah.
But I like the environment much more than Cityscape.
Yeah.
It was much easier for me to enjoy Duxon than it was for Nar Shaddaa, because it felt more adventure-y to be out in a jungle and seeing all these different weird creature designs, like the ocelot cat and the bug-eyed
frog
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I always find it all right. The Mandalorian can't find. I like Onderon aesthetically. There's some weird Eastern aesthetic stuff going on there, especially when the one guy refers to it as the smelliest place in the galaxy, and there's a lot of like...
But that's because there's all the beast-taming animals that are stuck in the... That's a very situational thing.
I know, but it's also, on top of everything else, it's very, like, India-coded, and, like, I'm like, there's a lot of things are stacking in kind of a weird way that is, like... It's a little strange.
Yeah, it's funny. When I think of that place, the one thing I think of in KOTOR 1 is the Sand People's village and everything, and how a lot of their infrastructure, at least slightly...
It's very similar. You're right.
Honestly, it's just the garage doors that I think of when I think between the two different places.
I love the reuse of assets. It's like, where are they going to...
Yeah.
What's the Civil War about?
I thought it was just they wanted freedom.
Should we stay in the Republic?
Is it just that?
Yeah, it's secession from the Republic.
Well, what's the points to and not?
The Republic used us as like a planetary shield, basically, in the Mandalorian War. We got rinsed in the Mandalorian Wars, and the Republic didn't do enough to save us. And a lot of Onderonians volunteered for that war and then died horrifically on other planets. Okay. And so, fuck the Republic. We need to be our own system again.
I must have missed that. I was
that's Vaklu's position.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That seems like kind of the right one.
But
that's the dark side, though, right?
Yes, that is the dark side position. Is because Vaklu is supported by the Sith.
Right, Nihilus specifically.
Yeah.
But it
Which, okay, how do you have that conversation?
which makes it kind of okay, because at times too, when he talks about it, he's like, "Yeah, we're using the Sith for their power, but we're totally gonna blindside them in an attack," and they do when you go back to the Telos for the final attack and everything with Nihilus, the Vaclus, the Andalorian soldiers actually show up to help you fight against the Sith too. So he's definitely using it, which I find it weird because if it's the bad guy choice and you're rejecting the Sith anyways, it's
That's
less
so weird.
of the
Yeah.
bad guy choice. If he's really from the get-go, his plan is to
Is it just
betray
because
the
he's
Sith.
mean then that's the bad guy choice? Is it
Yes.
because he's kind of a
It's
dick
because
about
you're.
it?
Yes.
It's because
Okay.
it's because the Master Jedi is aligned with the Princess,
Right, okay.
and so that's why it's the bad
yes.
choice.
And that I think was actually kind of part of my issue. I'm like, I don't get the pieces where they're at situationally.
I don't
Also,
think
I-
they explained it well.
No.
Also, I think any action you do that really helps the Republic, you generally get light side points for.
Mm-hmm.
Like giving the visa to the dude for the Republic gives you light side points. So just Republic is light.
But if you kill the Jedi, you don't get dark side points for it necessarily. I have killed. It's based on what you say, so it's really weird.
Yeah, I can't remember
You
whether
can-
or not.
you can force combat with them without provoking them with dark side prompts.
Or without saying like, "I can't wait to gut you like a pig, you stupid, filthy animal."
Yeah, the guy on Nar Shaddaa is the easiest one because he defaults to, all right, let's fight.
Yep.
And you have to say, no, actually, I don't want to fight.
Actually, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think it's funny too. If you choose to fight any one of them, you can't get out of not fighting any of them after that point.
Yes.
You are dead
You
set
just keep
into
killing them.
killing them all if you kill one of them.
Yep. Really?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you've got two different endpoints. They're either all dead when you get to the Dantooine, and Krea's like, "You idiot! You didn't
Well,
let me
no,
teach you that
some run
lesson."
away.
I guess I can't remember.
Yeah, Brooke runs away,
Mhm.
and so does what's his stupid face, K.
I can't remember any of their names. The Jedi Masters.
Kavar.
Okay, yeah.
But that's it. Any last thoughts of Onderon before we move on to
the visas. I will say I accidentally pushed the story forward, so I didn't give anyone a visa. and I
Oh,
felt
no.
so mean because everyone was asking me. They'll be like, "You have 2 visas. Do you want?" And I'll be like, I need to talk to other people because I can't remember why you wanted a visa."
I like
And
the
then
one guy's like, I want it for money.
Yeah.
I want to sell it to make
Yeah.
money.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna lie to you. I won't.
There's another guy who's like, "I want it also for money, but for less money." And then there's a lady who's like, "I'll give you Jedi crystals or
Or my children.
Or a ton of money. No, the Sith lady.
Yeah.
Or no, that's an exchange. She
yeah,
works
the
for the
exchange spy."
Yeah.
I can't remember what else you have two
You
options.
can get like 5,000
Oh,
credits
it's-
or a crystal.
It's a weapon, actually.
Or a terrible weapon.
It's a Rhodian Deathblade, which does minus attribute damage whenever you hit with it, I think is what it is.
Which
so,
is not that great.
So I quick save and then went back and chose this crystal.
The crystal's dark sided, isn't
It's
it?
yeah, you have to, it's dark side locked. So if you make this the one selfish decision to I do really want a lightsaber crystal, but you're not dark side, too bad, it's useless.
Yeah.
Can you sell it?
You can, but the crystal, but you can sell, but it's not worth as much as the 5,000 credits you can get. I think for just instead, yes.
Wow.
But overall, comments on the planet is just they had the idea, and it was very complex. But I don't even think they even really addressed it because like you said, it was kind of confusing, and I actually had to like reread some of the stuff and like go back and save.
I just
'cause I had to-
realized something too. This is a planet that's heavily featured in comics, Old Republic comics, like before KOTOR came out. These were like the old Exar Kun. Onderon specifically is a big Exar Kun.
Exar Kun's a light battle suit.
Yes.
Peaceful equipment,
Yep.
10,000 of them.
So I think that's also part of it. We don't have that context because the Beast Riders are very important in that too.
One last thing, did you guys watch the propaganda terminals?
Yes.
On Onderon.
Yes.
Because you get a lot of extra context for what's happening. They're very easy to miss. Small little terminals randomly placed in the city center that you can click on multiple times and there's like I think there's 2 different propaganda terminals. Each one has a different set of propaganda. And they have like 4 messages that you can watch a holo projection of a newscaster talking to you about what's going on Onderon. Very easy to walk right past. Yeah.
All right, so Korriban, is that the next one?
Sure.
We kind of talked about it.
A little
It's
bit,
short.
and there's not much to talk about.
Yeah, it's cool to go back through the Sith Academy, I guess.
Yeah.
I love how Cray is like, don't worry about these tombs. I'll tell you a little bit about each guy.
I wish.
Disappointed.
Yeah. I wish there was more tombs to go back. I mean, I get it because they've already been ransacked by Revan at that point in time.
Yep. That would be really funny. You could go in the tombs, but they're all empty because you emptied them out in the first game.
Yeah. I think it'd been cool if it was you landed at a different spot and there were different tombs you go to. And,
Or a tomb that nobody knew about.
yeah, there's a landslide and there's a tomb in between two tombs that you could go to.
Or maybe the cave led to tomb.
Yeah.
I mean, I genuinely thought when I was going to go to Korriban that there'd be the tombs for, like, other Sith
Yeah.
between the 5 years of war.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised at because they kept saying, "Oh, the Sith rebuilt," and then you go to Korriban, and it's like, "Oh, they're dead."
Right. Or like,
Wrong Sith.
here's the tomb. Well, that's the wrong Sith. They're talking about a different.
Oh.
This is the confusing
Okay.
thing.
race.
Yes.
But no, they're not. Remember.
Well,
It's
true.
because it's not the race exactly.
There's the race, and then there's the afterwards that is also on Korriban. Because
Well, no, the true Sith is also, it's both some in the race, but also some not in the race that were.
Yeah, this
This is the old Republic stuff, and it's
Yeah.
really bad. Because
It is bad.
Yeah, there's just another Sith Empire hiding out in like Droman Kos, in like the actual Sith capital,
an almost republic-size empire of planetary systems.
just hanging out.
Just hanging out that somehow everybody missed for
Yep.
whatever.
Many decades.
Many decades, yeah.
While all these other Sith wars were happening.
Yep. It's very strange. Very strange lore.
Different Sith. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But yeah, Korriban, short, done, easy peasy. You see Scion. Scion's like, hey, you know you travel with literally the worst fucking person in the galaxy.
Yeah.
And you can be like, yeah, I do. But she helps me.
I will say, these are some of my favorite Sith lords that you get to talk to or to interact with in this game or see of. Scion's a super fun idea for, I'm a Sith guy that's still alive because I am so angry and so full of rage and
so much pain.
So much pain that the pain is keeping me alive. And the way you get rid of him is very fun and interesting. But it's just like, yep, he's gone.
The pain feeds me.
Yeah.
Atten loves the sleeps with vibroblades joke. He uses it twice.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
And I'm like, Atten, we heard you the first time. It wasn't funny. It is very clunky. It's hard to say. You sound like you're having a hard time saying it. You just say sleep with knives. Jesus Christ. Malachor 5. Or do we want to talk about the Nihilist Ravager fight?
Dantooine.
Oh, Dantooine. I forgot.
There's a planet we're missing.
I forgot about
I
it.
kind of like Dantooine.
I like Dantooine too. I forgot about it
You
completely.
get the most insane piece of gear in the entire game, the character crystal.
Yeah.
Which if you use it in your lightsabers, boosts your stats. It gives you like plus 10 total to your attributes.
Yeah,
It's
kinda nuts.
Absolutely insane. And you get to decide the fate of a bunch of people who are kind of all dicks.
They're all dicks.
Yeah,
I don't like any of them.
You also get your color crystal too.
you can. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get a bunch of different crystals.
Oh, yeah, is it?
Don't you get your specific one though?
The one you choose,
Yes.
because like I chose Viridian, and you don't. And so I got my Viridian crystal.
It's how you get your silver one too.
Yeah.
if you chose
yeah, that's
silver.
right.
If you, because you don't
I forgot you can ignore that conversation.
Yeah,
too.
you
And
don't-
they just give you a fucking blue lightsaber.
you don't get your lightsaber back in this game. I don't think at any point.
No.
But when you talk about to Beodor what color your crystal was and everything, the crystal is where they're like, okay, he said this crystal, it'll be up in this cave, and that's where it pops up. Yeah.
Yep. I like crystal caves.
Yeah,
Hell
crystal-
Me too.
I thought you got that in the academy though. Don't you get it in the academy?
In KOTOR 1, you get your color crystal in the academy.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I thought it was in a footlocker. In this game.
No. Maybe. I don't know.
I can't remember. I thought it was at the Crystal Cave, but
'Cause the
Oh
crystal-
yes, you're right. It is in the academy part, isn't it?
'cause
like-
you get the crystal cave, you get your power crystal.
The crystal cave, you get your power crystal, but in the academy, in the footlocker, in one of the rooms, you get your crystal. Your color one.
Yeah, the colors.
That's right.
Okay.
I sometimes miss the color one. It's easy to miss.
I hate the Academy. I hated walking around that fucking thing for...
Oh, the sub-level?
The 70,000 rooms that are down there.
And all the little bug guys, those Skyrim bug creatures.
The chorus beasts, yeah. They always scared me as a little kid. Those were the rat ghouls of KOTOR 2.
Yeah, they are freaky.
They're weird looking.
I don't like them.
They can do weird force things, too.
Breathe fire.
Yeah.
That's my favorite force power.
Fire-breathing bugs.
I can't wait till we have the Darth Vader comic where he just breathes fire like from the force, like out of his mask. Malachor 5 time? You know, post Jedi getting.
I mean, we could also talk about the Ravenger.
You're right. The Ravenger. Post Kreia betraying you all, kind of, sort of, somewhat. Question mark? Kreia doing something.
Putting her plans in motion.
The Ravengers is long. I hate that you have to get the 4th pylon from a missile.
Oh,
yeah.
Not pylon. Proton.
Knowing all the
Proton
locations to go to, I somehow could not find the last location like to drop the bomb on, and so I was just wandering every single spot on this fucking ship looking for it.
Thankfully, if you open the map, if you've walked past it, the map will have a little marker there.
Yeah, the map.
I guess I didn't walk close enough to it because
Fortunately, I had walked close enough, and I was just like, there.
Oh.
Thank you.
How did everyone feel about the Nihilist fight? Was it hard for you all? It was pretty easy for me.
It was pretty easy for me because I had very much leveled up everything on my character.
Yeah. You can get really strong very fast in this game.
Yeah. One of my sidetrack point of it, one of my favorite points to get a lot of EXP really quickly, the turret section right at the end of Paragus, when you're on the Ebon Hawk and you're shooting the Sith troopers that came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
in the Taurus Sith armor and everything.
Yeah,
and armor
never see outside of that.
If you choose to just let them all aboard, you get 25 people worth of experience, and
smart.
That's what I do every time.
Genius.
So you get 25 times 200 EXP, and they also
good.
Drop stuff too that you can pick up. And
how's the combat? Are they difficult?
At that point, well, actually, it was still pretty difficult because I didn't unlock the second Force lightning ability where it has a cone instead of just single target.
Shock.
And so I still had the single shock, but it was easy enough with grenades, and with you have your 2 partners there with you too. They died many times, but you just take it group by group. But it is definitely overwhelming. 25 enemies on the Ebon Hawk.
Yeah, I feel like the game would crash, honestly. How do we feel about Nihilus? This character that's built up and is kind of a nothing character.
I like his voice. I think that's a cool feature.
That's the Mechanicus voice you did last month.
Sure, why not?
And it's I like the part where it's just not translated.
No,
it's just he just makes noises and Mira through the voice or no Visa
Visus.
Yeah,
translates
it and everything. Yeah, I think it's really cool to read on Wikipedia.
I like that. He's just a guy that got so hungry.
Yeah,
and now he wants to eat everything because of how hungry he is.
A creature made from Malachor 5.
Yep.
And is also just a hole in the Force. Like a black hole in the Force where he just keeps eating more and more and more of it.
Nihilus having a sign having a shirt that just says, "I'm just a hole."
Yeah.
Yeah, they kept referring to him as this, like, big, scary vampire guy who just lives on forever and can suck the whole planet's worth of people and the planet itself.
Can suck them dry.
Yeah, yeah, and then you meet him and he's like, hello, I'm gonna just keep dying.
I'm a wimp.
Yeah, a little. I'm just gonna keep on dying and coming back.
Well, that's Scion.
Oh, no, that's Scion.
No, Nihilus is the...
Oh, yeah, you use Visa to defeat him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was...
The power of friendship beats that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the power of servitude if you're the dark side.
Yep. Visa, go. This is your only job in the world. Go do this thing.
This is your destiny.
Yep.
And she didn't have, like, a reaction, like a visceral reaction to going back to her old room.
I think she did, but we just didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Because
there's a cutscene.
Yeah, well, but we didn't see it as players because she was with her own thoughts.
Yeah.
She doesn't. That was a private moment for her, which is unfortunate because that is a character that needs to have less of those.
Yeah.
Well, especially since we've already had instances where you hear her thoughts before, so why not just do that again?
Very valid question. Yep.
I feel like that would have at least, gone full circle for her to have that closure as, like, the audience. To just say, yes, like, this was traumatic for her to be forced to serve a guy that killed all her people and her planet, and then to finally, come to terms with now she's facing him and is ready to do that. But they didn't say any of that. It was just, I'm going to go in this room, and then you, as the audience, is going to think about it.
Yep.
Time.
It's
I think it all comes down to time. They just ran out of time, I think. Yeah.
And you know what? What is not a great example of them running out of time? But Malachor 5.
Jesus. So confusing. As a kid,
How do
especially,
you get there?
made
Yeah.
no fucking sense.
Yeah, you just arrive there. Your ship's bad, I guess.
Yeah,
Question mark.
again, you're constantly crashing ships in this game.
Atton
one
shouldn't
can
fly.
land.
Yeah. Definitely not Atton. Atton should not fly whatsoever.
Maybe he's not just unlucky. He's just a bad pilot.
Yeah.
He's just not skilled.
I mean, it doesn't sound like in his story it was ever really his specialty was piloting. So your
No,
he
pilot
said he was
isn't
a soldier.
Your pilot isn't even really a pilot.
Nope.
Like, yeah,
Great.
makes
Love
makes sense.
Carth's technically not really a pilot either.
Like a force commander, but he knows how to fly ships good. That's just a part of his character.
That's just a part of his character.
Good ship guy.
Yeah.
Good ship guy.
He's boatman.
So, yeah, how do we feel about Malachor 5?
Sucks.
So disappointing. It's
Pretty empty.
I totally love being the little probe droid where anything
God.
can one-shot me.
Yeah, being remote and you could just be killed by any of the beasts you didn't clean up.
that's
It's rough.
I remember playing through this time again. I'm like, I need to go through and kill all the beasts because I know I have to come back through as remote, and you don't want to have to try to the stealth system in this game. No one talked about that, but it's not.
I never use it.
Same with the first game. It's
Useless.
I only use it when, like, oh, there's a side quest that requires me to use it.
yeah. There's
Yep.
two people that won't talk unless you're invisible,
God.
and so I'm like, okay, Kreia, press this button for me, and then go walk over there, and then that's my experience with the
With stealth.
Yeah.
Thankfully, with probe, you can just run.
Yes.
So if you just run far enough, they stop chasing.
I like how you call him probe. Remote.
Remote.
Yeah, remote.
Little probey boy.
Are they probe droids?
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought they were remotes.
Yes.
Uncle said it
Star Wars
three
lore.
times. Uncle said it 3 times. That means it's true.
Okay, fair.
Yes.
Well, it might be false now.
So what does Gato want? Can anyone explain when Gato tries to stop remote from activating?
It's the artifacts. That's what he wants to sell in his gang.
He just wants it so hard.
Yeah, he wants to sell them for his whatever projects in the Republic he is doing.
I do love how he's just like, you know what, I don't care what religion rules the galaxy. Clearly one is going to. I just want one to do it already. Because this uncertainty of which force cult is running the galaxy, I hate that.
He just wants stability to make money.
It's just bad for the markets.
Yeah.
The markets demand a Sith religion, or a Jedi religion of some sort. But yeah, okay, cool. So no reason why, like, Gato wants artifacts, but,
It wasn't really a real reason to stop everybody.
you know, Gato.
I think the worst part of Malachor for me was that final conversation with Kreia where she kind of gets to talk about a lot of things. I had the skipping glitch. And so literally the final sequence of dialogue in the game, the finale of the game, 100% skipped for me. Nothing I could do about it. Now I tried to reload different saves and it was just going to skip every time. So I didn't even get to have the final talk with Kreia.
Which is like the game.
That was my experience of playing. Oh, that killed me. Absolutely killed me.
It also makes me mad that you can't. There's no way to convince Kreia.
Well, she's stubborn.
Yeah, she's stubborn, but like I feel like I don't know. Let me redeem this character in some way, shape, or form.
She's very thoughtful or thankful that you want to redeem her at all. Now you must die. I must kill you, or
Yeah.
I must die.
Yeah,
One or the other.
I agree. It's kind of annoying. The ending is the ending, and
then it's just done.
Yeah, and then it's just done.
Nothing.
There's nothing.
No cutscene. Done.
Ambiguous.
Dun dun.
It was also interesting that they had the re-fight with Mira and Hanhar.
Yeah.
He just like was obsessed with her, and I understand why. But again, she kept telling him to like leave her alone, and he just wouldn't do that.
It's weird when you're also in control of these characters and the dialogue they choose. I'm like, why isn't this voiced? And why isn't Amira saying something specifically? It's not like she's changed that much.
I wonder if something weird with the engine where whoever the main character is can't have any voice lines attached to it or anything.
But Atten does. In Nar Shaddaa.
You're right. Yep. he does do
Unfinished
that.
game.
Yeah,
Unfinished game.
Yeah, we just keep going back to it. It's like, we don't got time. We don't got time.
At times, this game truly feels like it wasn't play tested.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, okay, and like the paper you write, literally minutes before it's ready to turn it in, and it's like, go. I hope I didn't spell anything hilariously bad.
I hope I didn't spell feats wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
Yeah. But still a fun game and worth the experience. Even despite that horrible finale that was totally skipped for me, I'm glad I played the game again.
Yeah, it's journeying along the way that matters.
Yeah, it's the people you murder along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we talk about that Kreia
Yes, let's talk about it.
Kreia conversation?
No, we can't. I skipped it.
It is a bummer when she does tell you, hey, everyone's going to be a Jedi. Thumbs up. I'm like, neither of us want this. I kill them. You kill them. What are we doing here? I do love just, hey, Jango Fett's the last Mandalorian. That's going to be rip, huh? Last true Mandalorian gets killed by a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Wow.
Yeah, I think even if it doesn't skip for you, the ending dialogue does not do it for me.
No.
It doesn't. It does it for me. I
for you?
like her being cryptic and prophetic and like, here's what's gonna happen. Like,
I
don't think the choices are good, but I like it in concept.
I think my issue with it is that you play the entire game beforehand, and it's like you're leading to something, and
That's
then
true.
the end of it is like,
Find out next game.
find out never, because we're not going to
true.
do anything else, which
Yeah.
is so criminal.
Find out next game, aka KOTOR 3, aka no, actually, I mean Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO that'll come out almost 10 years later.
Drats.
Drats.
Yeah. I mean,
Which was fun for a time, I will say.
I will agree to. Honestly, it's the most interesting dialogue I've had in MMO, which is not hard to do because it's not that hard to.
The bar was low.
The bar is just go here, go do that. That's the dialogue. But it definitely didn't do it enough for me to want to finish an
Not a
MMO
KOTOR
like
3.
that. Yeah, that's definitely doesn't fill the hole.
It's okay. They're remaking KOTOR 1. Don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget. That's totally still happening. The thing we never heard about.
They've been remaking it for the last forever, and
And the company that did it got it removed from them because they were not doing a great job.
supposedly there's 4 people working on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. At a company. There's
This
4
is-
people, and it's not even like a main product line thing. They're doing it in their free time. But that was what I've heard 6 months ago.
I don't think that's what's happening. What's happening is they don't know what to do. From what I've been finding out, I was like, this build went really bad. We're kind of fucked. We need to start from scratch. And I'm yeah.
What kind of remake is it? Is it like just a graphical update?
I
With
think a
like
full ass
cleaner...
remake.
Is it going
Which
to
is
play like
interesting.
KOTOR?
Yeah, right. That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
I hope not. I don't think really hacked together D&D 3E is that great of a combat system.
No.
I wish it was.
It looks like we discussed last year. It looks interesting.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
cool.
It's kind of cool to watch.
I like the updated hand-to-hand combat. Like they have now actual fist fighting
Different
rapport.
extra animations for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Achani fighting styles. We have to fight naked. I promise. There's a reason these women have to be naked. I promise. I swear to God. There's a lore reason. There's a lore reason all these women have to be nude and have big asses.
That was weird. The only way we can fight is if we're completely naked like this.
This is the only honorable way to do it.
I like how you can immediately talk to her afterwards and be like, can you please put on some clothes? And if you did it right after fighting her without wearing anything, she's like, well, you're not wearing any clothes. Why would I have to do anything?
These are the important dialogue options they had to leave in when
Yeah.
so much else was cut.
Yep. Being weird to women.
Yeah.
We just couldn't fit in any more Baodor stuff. We had to keep all the lines that we had.
Yeah.
Well, also, you dance. If you play as a
Oh,
female,
right.
you dance with the outfit.
Yes.
Or you can make one of your female companions dance for a hut.
Yeah, you can force a female companion to
The
put on
bikini. Yeah.
a bikini.
Feels so uncomfortable to do that,
Oh,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish you could put Kreia in it.
Yeah, I like the option where you can suggest Kreia. And it's like, no.
No, I'm not doing that. I would literally end my entire project to kill the Force before I would put that on. Any last thoughts?
I mean, I guess I wish that there was an option to kind of join Atris, which I think would be. I know that's not part of like the story at all, because as the exile, that's not part of the exile story at all. I get that, but I think it just would be interesting when you first meet Atris on Telos, yeah. If that you could literally change your path from that. That would just be like an extra path.
Yeah, but she'd never let you in. She hates your ass. That's the issue.
I think it would have been...
Plus, it can't be a Jedi Academy. It has to be a Jedi Academy with no students. It's creepier that way.
I think there could have been a good avenue there if they went with epilogue options at the end, where I think it's like, yes, you can have an ending where you and Atris go do stuff, or you have an ending where you and Kreia join forces and then actually blow up, and then have an ending where the Force is blown up and all these different things. I feel like that part, there was something missing there that could have made the ending so much more satisfying. I think that would have been a good point to add to it.
Yeah. Should we move on to questions? Is it question time?
Yeah.
All right. Some of you are on the other end of this for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
First question comes in from co-host of this, Dale Flashpoint. Did you like swoop bikes better in Game 1 or Game 2? Game 2, baby. It lets me jump.
Same.
I also liked the jumping. I just wish there was more swoop racing.
Yep.
2, but begrudgingly after taking forever to remember that there's a jump button at certain points, and you can't continue unless you jump.
2, because it's been literal decades since I played the first one.
And my answer would be, if I had to pick between 1 and 2, I'd say no.
You don't like swoop.
I don't like swoop racing.
Hilver asks, how would you feel about this game if it wasn't Star Wars themed and it was about a different space wizard with good and bad magic instead? I think this would it's an easy switch over, because that's why it doesn't feel like the Force sometimes, because it just feels like magic.
Yep. I think it's a great point that when I made my first ever D&D campaign with friends, I just stole the KOTOR 1 gameplay, removed all of the references to Star Wars, and then that was the easiest way to very quickly build a framework for a D&D campaign.
Nice.
What was the question? It's like, we're not selling the swoop bikes, are we?
No. How would you feel if it was about, different magic and it wasn't Star Wars thing? Would you play this game if...
No.
Yeah, you wouldn't play it at all if it wasn't Star Wars?
I don't know. It would have to be, like, I guess it would depend on how it was presented to me, because this, to me, it was so very clearly Star Wars. Like, what would it be? Like a medieval kind of, like, just
like a
Dragon
fantasy
Age
game
or something?
Yeah.
I mean, no. Because now I'm thinking of Nar Shaddaa, and whatever that section is, I don't want to do that again. I don't care.
It's the
if
Fade.
it's in...
It's the Fade in Dragon Age. All right, that's kind of it for questions.
I
really?
have a question.
Oh, you got a question?
I have a
Okay.
question.
It's tradition.
What
tradition.
would we call the game other than Sith Lords? Because it's called Sith Lords, but it's not really about Sith
you're
Lords.
right.
Yeah.
I'm really wordy with my naming, so I would either call it Kriya's Last Wishes Unremained, or
Where's Last Wishes Unremained?
or like the
Fate
Tears of like
Zero,
Kriya,
Ex
or
Machina.
like the galaxy's like grip on the Force.
The galaxy's grip on
Left
the
undone.
The Force's
Yeah.
grippers.
The Path of the Exile.
Path of the Exile is good, but that's also there's Path of Exile games.
Dark Forces.
Dark Forces.
You mean the subtitle of a Star Wars game or title of a Star Wars game already?
You're right. I'd call it
Light Forces.
Battlefront 2.
What
I don't
would
know.
be a
KOTOR 2, Death of the Force, or something along those lines.
Doom of the Jedi.
The Jedi Return.
KOTOR 2, The Last Jedi.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
You are
These are just
cooking.
off the top of my
Let
head
him
here.
cook.
I mean, honestly, The Last Jedi would have made sense if they called it this.
Yeah.
Because it was
Actually,
pre-Last Jedi. Like, they
yeah.
could have just called it that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's actually a pretty good missed opportunity right there.
That would have been...
This should have been The Last Jedi.
I mean, they're
Maybe
very
that's
similar.
what KOTOR 3 was going to be subtitled.
There
The
you
Last
go.
Jedi.
It can't be. It would be called The Sith Empire.
The Last Jedi again.
The Last Jedi again. You got another
No,
question?
that is it.
That's
Yeah.
that's the bean sprout question?
Yes.
Well, thank you all so much for joining me. Is there a place or that you would like to plug yourself? Is there a place anyone on the internet can find you that you want to be found? If not, that's okay.
If you can find my socials, good luck. I use it just for viewing other social media things. I don't make anything.
Same. Godspeed.
All right. You can find me Faden Cross, Bluesky. Pretty easy. Send me questions there. I post podcast info there sometimes. I also post other things. I'm very funny. Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining. Next month, and you all have an open invitation to this, of course, we start year 4.
Woo! Nice job.
Year 4. And it is kicking off with a game called Judero.
Claymation game.
Claymation game.
Oh, I think I've seen that game. That has been on my wish list for a
Yes,
hot
claymation
second.
stop motion.
Yeah.
It's clay?
Yeah, it's all clay
It was
figures.
animated with clay figures.
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit style.
Scottish Odyssey game. or
Scottish
something.
Odyssey game. So,
Very interested in it.
Yeah.
I'll see
Max?
if I can put some time in.
It's a
for
little
it.
one. It's short.
it's 4
Okay,
hours.
perfect. Because it's been on my wish list for a long time. Because I saw the claymation, I'm like, holy crap, this is right up my alley. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll keep in touch
Hey,
about it.
and an open invitation for any of y'all.
Sweet.
So, thank you all so much for listening to another episode of Club Flashpoint.
Woo.
Jake?
Jimmy Carter just died?
Oh.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Jimmy
This
Carter
pod-
just died.
Breaking news.
Holy shit.